For the ninth, Nate Shearholtz comes through with an RBI single, the ninth walk-off hit for the Giants this season. They win 3-2. Yesterday afternoon, Tim Lincecum does something he hasn't done since his rookie season in 2007. He gives up 7 earned runs. 8 different Reds drove in runs, including Brandon Phillips with a 2-run double. Joey Votto had 3 hits, including an RBI double. Mike Leake with 8 innings, 8 strikeouts, allowed only 4 hits, and the Reds win by a score of 10-2. Joined as always by Bobby Valentine and Orel Hershiser. Orel, let's start with you, and let's start with Cincinnati. This is a team that can really hit and they can really play defense. Is it all up to the starting pitching for this team this year?
Well, Edinson Volquez is on the mound. He's on his 2nd start since being down in AAA. He had to go down there for a tune-up or a wake-up call, but the tune-up was on the mechanics, mainly about the fastball command. When he has great fastball command, he can use that outstanding changeup. His last start, the first one back, was against Chicago. It was his best start of the year. 7 innings, only 1 run. The walks were down, the strikeouts were up, and he was back on his game. Remember, this is a guy that was their opening day starter and won 17 games in 2008. They need him in a big way.
Now for the Giants, they've got so many injuries, of course. We just showed you Freddie Sanchez. We've talked so much about Buster Posey. The Giants don't score many runs at all, yet they're in first place right now.
They are, but this is an offensive challenge team. You know, they did lose 2 of their best hitters, as you mentioned, in Posey and Sanchez. And now they're going to rely on Bruce Bochy to create runs, not to watch things happen or wonder what happened, but make things happen. They're going to be running on the baselines. They're going to be bunting. They're going to be hitting and running, and look for the squeeze to be used any chance that he gets. He's going to also rely on Jonathan Sanchez to shut down Joey Votto and Jay Bruce.
Certainly not an easy task, although Sanchez has the stuff to do it. You can see if he puts the ball in the strike zone, he's awfully tough to hit. The big key for Sanchez, though, is throwing strikes. Let's go down to the field now. Buster Olney is standing by with Miguel Tejada.
Miguel Tejada, you're 4 for 16 in your career against Edinson Volquez. What's your challenge in facing him?
Well, you know, today's a new day. We're going to start another new game. I'm really not paying attention. I'm going to hear a guy getting him for, you know, Volquez is a great pitching. You cannot think him before the game. Just go up to the plate and try to see the ball and hit it, because he got so many good pitches he can get you out.
Now we see the sun is going down. What's it like to hit in this park when the sun is setting?
Yeah, the sun is coming down. For, you know, it's the first time that we play this year at 5 o'clock. For, you know, that's going to be for the both team, and we just got to try to see the ball.
Miguel, thank you. Dan, back to you.
Buster, thank you very much. Also coming up on the show tonight, Dusty Baker is back home. Of course, he managed the San Francisco Giants for 10 seasons. A look at what some of the heavy hitters did around baseball today. Some of the big goings-on with the Baseball Tonight gang from Sunday, and Derek Jeter gets closer and closer, now just 7 away from 3,000 hits in his career. Jonathan Sanchez getting ready to take the mound. The Giants and the Reds. Sunday Night Baseball is coming up next.
Left your heart in San Francisco? Giants fans don't get that. Their hearts are always here, through thick and thin. This place survived the gold rush, the hippie rush, earthquakes. Its Giants were down on their luck for decades, eclipsed even in their own stadium. But no more. Kids and veterans, old and new, a great, great town, a great, great ballpark, great, great fans who never leave their hearts behind.
What a beautiful city San Francisco is, and what a beautiful day weather-wise here in this great city. We're excited to be here for Sunday Night Baseball. So excited, in fact, we think we'll come back 2 more times in the next few weeks. We'll be back here on the 26th and again on the 10th of July. Just a glorious day, as you can see here in San Francisco, as the Giants and Reds wrap up their 4-game series. Sunday Night Baseball here on ESPN. And look down into AT&T Park, where right now the lineup cards are being exchanged with the umpires. You can see members of the coaching staff are out, along with Mike Estabrook, the home plate umpire. Bill Welke is the first base umpire. Tim Cheetah at second, and Jeff Nelson is at third. Tim Cheetah is the crew chief. Dusty Baker's back home. Northern California guy, managed the San Francisco Giants for 10 years, including their trip into the World Series in 2002 when they lost to the Angels in 7 games. Let's check out the lineup for the high-scoring Cincinnati Reds, presented by Taco Bell. Drew Stubbs, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, the top third in the order. Jay Bruce, who's having a great season hitting cleanup. Scott Rowland, just back from a viral infection in his throat, is batting 5th. Johnny Gomes has started to hit. He's batting 6th. Former Giant and last year's World Series MVP Edgar Renteria is batting 7th. Ramon Hernandez catching it. Edinson Volquez is the pitcher tonight for Cincinnati. The San Francisco Giants take the field to another sold-out crowd. Every game has been sold out this year, where they had fun in October of last year. And although it has been a struggle at times this season for the Giants, the fun has definitely carried over into 2011. What a love affair exists right now between this team and this town after they delivered a World Series championship here last October. Jonathan Sanchez is on the mound tonight for San Francisco. Oral, what can you tell us about him?
Well, some nights for San Francisco it's torture because they don't score many runs. Well, Jonathan Sanchez's outings are torturous because of his walks. He has amazing stuff. You see the opponent's BA at 205, but he is highest in walks per 9 inning at 5.5. Get the ball over the plate. There were some youngsters out there on the field pregame. What would you give him as advice? Throw strikes, young man. Well, you need to do it too, Jonathan.
Back in 2009, he had the best day of his major league career. He threw a no-hitter on July the 10th, 2009 against San Diego, striking out 11. The only base runner against him reached on an error in the 8th inning. As close to perfect as you can be. The tantalizing potential of Jonathan Sanchez. He won the 162nd and final regular season game a year ago for the Giants that clinched the National League West Division title. And there you can see it, the no-hitter back 2 years ago. We've got 2 pitchers tonight. If they can be around the plate, they can be tremendously good. But they're both kind of enigmas, as we mentioned earlier, because of their inability to throw strikes on occasion.
And on a night like tonight, with the conditions, with the glare and the 5 o'clock start, and the shadows will be creeping, it will wreak havoc on the hitters. And I'll tell you what, the pitchers, if they can throw strikes, and especially with their breaking ball, it'll be very hard to see. It'll look like a blur, a gray blur to the hitter.
And the shadows aren't here yet, Dan. And if you're going to score off of these 2 pitchers, you want to get them early. Right now, it's perfect conditions. You have a chance. Cincinnati will without the shadows, and so will San Francisco.
Defensively for the Giants, Cody Ross at left, Andres Torres in center. Nate Shearholtz is getting a lot of playing time at right field right now. With the infield, Miguel Tejada at third. Rookie Brandon Crawford is the shortstop. Manny Burris at second. Aubrey Huff at first. And Chris Stewart will do the catching tonight for Jonathan Sanchez. Of course, Buster Posey is out for the season. Eli Whiteside has become the #1 guy, and Stewart has come up from the minors to assume the backup role behind the plate. All right, ready for baseball here in San Francisco. Drew Stubbs steps in for the Reds. Stubbs, the center fielder. A terrific blend of power and speed. He does strike out a lot. Not your prototypical leadoff hitter.
Yeah, a lot is being kind. He's leading the league. He is on pace for 200 strikeouts. Dusty Baker, though, thinks he reminds him of Bobby Bonds, Barry Bonds' dad.
Way inside that cut fastball, and just a tremendous amount of movement on that pitch, Oral.
He has an electric arm with stuff that just should be in the strike zone. He should use the middle of the plate because it will not end up there.
In the air right side over near the seats, and almost caught by Huff. Reaching into the camera bell, looked like it ticked off his glove, and we saw him shielding his eyes from the sun, Bobby, his entire way over to try to get that ball.
You have the sun, you have a home field advantage. You've got to know where that post is. I think he did, and just misses getting this ball, but it was the glare and then the post that he looks for. Gets the post, reaches, and narrowly makes the catch.
Glare, wind, shadows, a lot of elements in play here in this game. And as you said, Bobby, the shadows haven't begun yet. An hour from now, it'll become serious. (3-2). And Stubbs stays alive. Tough for the hitters, tough for the fielders in conditions like these. Aubrey Huff still kind of lamenting the one that got away.
It's pretty amazing. We're complaining about the conditions, but what is it, 70 degrees and sunny?
Beautiful. Did he go? No, he did not. And Stubbs will draw the leadoff walk. Well, tonight you can follow Buster Olney and Wendy Nix on Twitter. They're down at field level, working hard all through the game. You can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/ESPN Baseball Tonight. So the leadoff man is aboard for the Reds. And here's the very personable and talented Brandon Phillips, who's got some very good numbers, as you can see, in limited at-bats against Jonathan Sanchez. An all-star, a two-time Gold Glover, one of the game's better second baseman. Breaking ball for a strike.
Stubbs is a very aggressive runner at first. Stewart's behind the plate because he's a catch and throw guy. Sanchez is on the mound and is easy to run on. 9 out of 11 this year. 73% in his career have been successful. I think Dusty will start putting people in play and in motion.
Ooh, and Phillips upset with himself. Chased a breaking ball in the dirt, and the count is 0-2.
Stewart blocks that ball very well, keeps it out in front of the plate. He's in the major leagues because of his defense. Bruce Bochy likes the way he blocks the ball, calls the game, and throws the ball. I think he will be tested before the night's over.
And he was with the team in spring training, so he's familiar with all the San Francisco pitchers. Another breaking ball. 3 in a row from Sanchez to Phillips.
Brandon Phillips wearing the gray uniform, of course, here on the road trip. And Brandon's got a few fans in the stands. Make that 2 for sure. He had a texting contest, and the prizes were that the 2 fans would get all expense trip paid with him on this road trip. They joined him here. If you watched Baseball Tonight earlier, you saw them eating out at a restaurant this afternoon.
I saw that story with Amy Nelson on Baseball Tonight within the last hour. Again, the 0-2. I don't know that anybody likes to interact with people more than Brandon Phillips does. Remember the story a few weeks ago? Again, he's tweeting, hey, what should I do tonight? I got nothing to do. And somebody, I think, on a high school baseball team says, hey, we got a big game. And he goes out and he watches the game. All of a sudden, Brandon Phillips just shows up, meets this young man's family, cheers them on, watches the baseball game. He's a man of the people. Runner goes, and it's fouled off.
I think he had that one standing up.
Yeah. Sanchez has not shown any type of move to first base. His move to home is 1.45 seconds. It's very deliberate. Everyone knows he's concentrating on throwing strikes, and he doesn't really care about the runner. Has very little move from the third base side of the rubber where he pitches. It's very difficult for him to have a good move to first base.
And again, Phillips fouls one off, so Sanchez has already have to throw a lot of pitches, walk the leadoff man on a 3-2 pitch, and now he can't put away Phillips, who keeps fouling off pitch after pitch. He's already thrown 13 pitches, Earl, doesn't have an out yet.
Well, he runs his pitch count up himself with all the control problems and the walks, and if you can grind out at bats also, you're going to really keep him under around his 5-inning mark, which is about where he normally goes.
Remember, the home plate umpire calls the step, whether it's a balk or not. And when you step from the extreme third base side of the rubber, your front leg usually comes down in the middle of the mound. And there he is on that extreme side, and you can see where his landing foot landed. Often a home plate umpire will call it a balk even though he steps toward first, because it's not a very directional step. It really does look like to the home plate umpire that you're going home. And after 2 throws to first, they never throw 3 times. Great time to go.
And finally, a swing and a miss to put away Phillips for the first out. So now Sanchez will face the first of 2 consecutive very dangerous left-handed batters, beginning with the reigning National League MVP Joey Votto. How important is it, guys, for Sanchez to handle not only 2 great left-handed batters, they're 1-2 in the National League as lefties hitting left-handed pitchers.
Well, what he needs to do is let that one pitch that gets away from him go up and in.
Starts Votto with a strike.
You see, Joey's trying to pick up that release point where it's tough to hit. Remember, in 4/10 of a second that it takes the ball to come, the first thing the hitter does is decide if he has to duck or if he could swing for about 0.12 seconds. Joey's very uncomfortable up there, as will Bruce be, because Sanchez does have that ball, Earl, that he lets loose and it just kind of finds the head of the left-handed hitter, and these left-handed batters know that, and they're uncomfortable at this time.
It's sharply, but right to the second baseman, Burris, to the back for one, back to first, double play. Good defense behind Sanchez here in the top of the first. Reds don't score. Giants coming up. Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by Volkswagen. That's the power of German engineering. That's Das Auto. Dan Schulman to Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser. Bottom of the first inning in San Francisco. The Giants are coming up against the Cincinnati Reds. And a look at the lineup for Bruce Bochy's team tonight, beginning with Andres Torres leading it off in center field, and Miguel Tejada. 4 doubles in this series. Batting second, playing third. Nate Shearholtz is hitting third. Aubrey Huff, the cleanup hitter. Cody Ross in left field, batting fifth. Rookie Brandon Crawford at shortstop, batting sixth. Manny Burris, the second baseman. Chris Stewart, the catcher, and then Jonathan Sanchez, a very good hitting pitcher. The lineup for the Giants is presented by Taco Bell. On the mound tonight, Oral, right-hander Edinson Volquez.
Edinson Volquez needs to be better in the first inning. That's the key for him. His ERA in the first inning, 16.36. Needs no hits, no walks, but since he's been back from the minors, his last first inning was very good against Chicago.
Here's Torres, center fielder for the Giants, who had such a good year last year. He's had some injury problems earlier this year, hitting just .254, 2 home runs on the season. The Giants are second from the bottom of the National League in runs per game. They only score about 3.5 runs per game, and they score less than 3 runs per game here in this ballpark, which is such a great park, Oral, to be a pitcher in.
You have so many different elements, especially the wind makes this a great pitcher's park, and then the dimensions.
.421 out to deep right center. It's the deepest part of this ballpark. .399 to straightaway center field. And there's ball 4. So we have the 2 pitchers in this game, Jonathan Sanchez and Edinson Volquez, who have walked more batters than any other pitchers in the National League, and each of them walked the leadoff hitter tonight.
Edinson Volquez also, that's his 15th first inning walk. That's number 1. He also has 21 first inning runs. That's number 1 in the National League.
And Oral, Cincinnati tried to steal. They did not. Consequently, they hit into a double play because the runner was still on first. Let's see if Bruce tries to move his runners to keep away from that double inning ending double play.
Miguel Tejada, the third baseman. Tejada's been swinging the bat well lately. Didn't have a hit yesterday, but had 2 doubles Friday, had 2 doubles Thursday. A lot of talk. Bruce Bochy with so many moving pieces. But once Pablo Sandoval comes back, that Tejada could be in a real fight for playing time. He's trying to prove that he still belongs to be on the team and in the lineup. Runner goes. Pitch taken inside. Throw down. Not in time. Did they get him? Yes. He slid off the bag, it appears. And is called out by second base umpire Tim Cheetah. Torres protesting the call. Sure looked like he beat the throw. He must have come off the bag.
Well, we said that Bruce has to make things happen. He makes this happen. He gets a stolen base, and then the slide takes him off the base. Brandon Phillips stays on with the tag. I'm not sure if he really did go off the base.
Yeah,
well,
a few inches.
Once again, you can't push a guy's hand off.
Fouled back 2-1. So in Tim Cheetah's judgment, then the hand came off as the part of the follow through of the slide, was not pushed off?
Exactly. He thought that he came off voluntarily, and that's the only way you can be put out, if you come off the base on your own. You can't be pushed off the base. We saw it last week with the catcher at first base, pushing him off the base. I think he's safe.
Chopper up the middle, and it squirts under the glove of Phillips into center field. Probably would have been a base hit anyways, as Tejada is aboard. So a 1-out single for Tejada. Here's Nate Shearholtz, a guy who's getting more playing time than the Giants anticipated he would get at the beginning of the season. But with some other people struggling, Pat Burrell's really struggling right now. So Cody Ross is over in left field. Shearholtz getting a lot of time in right, hitting third, and delivering some big hits and some good defense. Not many guys in a baseball go from bench player to number 3 hitter, but that's what, out of necessity, really, the Giants have turned to Schierholtz.
But Dan, with Schierholtz, you have a very athletic baseball player batting third, and it makes your team look good. He's a very well-trained athlete. He throws very well, plays the outfield very well, hits with power, and now batting third in the San Francisco lineup.
One and one. Well, as Oral told you, and Oral would know as well as anybody, having pitched so many years for the LA Dodgers, you start games at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock local time on the West Coast, and you've got some elements to deal with. One of them, the shadows, and they are rapidly approaching home plate. Fouled back 1-2. Within half an inning or so, Oral, they'll be on the plate, and that'll make life easier for the pitcher, harder for the hitter.
It's a pitcher's dream because the hitters have to squint. There actually is a glare that comes off the hitter's backdrop there in center field. You can see below the big scoreboard. The sun starts glaring off of that, and between that and the shadows that will creep over home plate for about 3 innings, it is just all your game as a pitcher.
2-2 the count. And take a look at these numbers. This is Sunday night baseball games that have been played since the beginning of the 2006 season. West Coast games averaging a full run less per game than all other games. Lower batting average, lower home run totals. You'd have to draw the conclusion that at least some of that is the elements, the shadows, how tough it is for hitters to see the ball.
Or most of it, Dan. 5 o'clock start time it's treacherous for hitters. They were complaining during batting practice yesterday. They came out, they're hitting against a guy throwing 60 miles an hour at 5 o'clock and could hardly see the ball here. It'll be game conditions in about an hour, and good luck to all.
I had quite a few during my career, and it was a lot of fun to pitch, and it wasn't any fun to hit. When I got up there even to bunt, I felt like it was hard to even bunt to see the ball.
Let's see if Bruce Bochy starts the runner. Full count, 1 out. Tejada's at first. He is going, and the pitch fouled off. You like the, as you talked about in the open to Bobby, the make things happen attitude that Bruce Bochy feels he needs to take?
Absolutely, and I think he's one of the best managers in baseball at making things happen, creating situations, believing in his players, and putting him in situations that they can succeed. Miguel Tejada is not the base stealer in this instance. He's saying that Schierholtz could put this ball in play. I believe in you, son. You're batting third. It's not going to be a swing and miss. I'm putting the guy in motion. Let's see if we make something happen.
Going again. Swing and a miss. Throw through. And it bounces in and out of the glove of Phillips, so Tejada, somewhat luckily for him, is safely into second with a stolen base.
It was a situation where Hernandez had too much time. He realized once there was a swing and miss, Tejada would be nowhere near the base. He came up to throw that ball and just gingerly one-hopped it into second base. Had plenty of time. Phillips could have picked it and made a tag. It would have been a difficult play, but now made something happen. Man in scoring position in the first inning before the shadows get there.
Ramon Hernandez, along with Ryan Hannigan, one of the better catching duos, especially offensively in the National League, with a couple of bounce throws already for Hernandez tonight. Aubrey Huff is the batter, another struggling Giants hitter. 8-32, remarkably, that leads the team. Huff led the team in home runs and RBIs a year ago as well, with 26 and 86. A lot of movement on that pitch. Takes it right off the outside corner for ball 2. Breaking ball for a strike, pitching backwards, as they say, Oral.
You know, the first base open, and with the Demons from the first inning struggles that he's had this year, actually sent him to the minors. Believe it, this is their opening day starter after 10 starts, had to go to the minors. So he's going to do everything he can to prevent this run, to get on a roll here in this 3/4 of the season left for him in the Cincinnati rotation.
Fouled back by Huff. The count 2-2. Volquez has just been hurt so badly in the first inning of his starts this year. You can see an ERA over 16. After that, he settles down nicely. And it is worth noting, when he came back for the minors on Tuesday, made his first start since returning for the minors, he did not give up a run in the first inning, and he pitched very well in a win over the Cubs.
Really was his best start of the year. 7 innings, only 1 run. That first inning, there's no runs, 2 strikeouts, and a hit.
Breaking ball high, full count. And in Giants games, especially in Giants games in this ballpark, 1 run's a lot. I mean, if they get down by 1, although they've been a good comeback team considering how offensively challenged they are.
Well, they're a good comeback team because they're never down by much.
That's right. They play more close games, it seems, than just about any team in baseball.
I mean, you think about all the exciting things that happen in a game with the walk-off wins, the close losses, the come-from-behind wins. They're at the top of every one of those categories because they play such close games and low-scoring games.
Grounded to first. Votto unassisted, and the inning is over. At the end of 1, here at AT&T Park, no score between the Reds and Giants. Orel Hershiser, Bobby Valentine, Buster Olney, and Wendy next Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. What a beautiful shot. What a beautiful day as we head towards evening. No score, the Reds and the Giants, and here comes one of the most dangerous hitters in all of baseball right now, Jay Bruce of the Cincinnati Reds, who has been just crushing the ball since the 1st of May and was rewarded with National League Player of the Month honors in May. You can see the shift is on. 3 on the right side. Outfielders are straight away. One of the big things that Bruce has done better, and let's keep in mind he's only 24. Seems like he's been around a long time, but only 24. He's become more selective, not chasing bad pitches, and he's also become a much better hitter against lefties. He really struggled last year And really, in the first 3 years of his career, hit just .230 against lefties coming into this season. Look at the improvement this year, kind of like Curtis Granderson has done with the Yankees.
And versus left-handers, when the at-bat ends in a breaking ball, which you would think would be the thing that would really hurt him, hitting .438.
He'll take the walk. So we have seen Sanchez walk the leadoff hitter in both the first and second. Volquez walked the leadoff hitter in the first. They are as advertised, are they not?
Yes, they are. How can you keep walking the leadoff hitter? Makes it very challenging on the manager.
Well, it tells you that they can't repeat their mechanics, and they are not comfortable with the mechanics they bring to the mound because they don't really feel that rhythm. And Bobby and I talk so much about there's what you physically do and then there's what you physically feel. And these two guys do not have a feel for who they are.
So the leadoff man aboard, and here is Reds third baseman Scott Rowland. Rolling out earlier this year with a left shoulder injury. Dusty Baker just getting his third baseman back this week from a viral infection in his throat that cost Rowland 4 games. He's hitting just .240 with only 2 home runs. Oh, and 2. Bruce 5 steals on the season as he assumes his lead at first. Way inside. Dusty's a busy man early, flashing those signs. He's the manager of the highest scoring team in the National League, 5 runs per game. Chopped foul.
Dan, you saw as Sanchez came up with his leg, Bruce was leaning back toward first base. He's done that on all 4 pitches that were thrown. Often a hitter will do that to make the opposing dugout think that he cannot read the move at all. So they disregard him, and then you could go on first move and be assured that they're not throwing over. To do that, you'd want to do it on 2 and 2 and not on 3 and 2, because a lot of times 3 and 2 is an automatic throw over. Let's see if he was deking him or if he really can't read the move. Looks like he's having trouble reading the move. First move is back to first base, and now it's 2 and 2. So it could be the time to go. He's got him deked.
And he draws a throw.
So they read the same book.
Exactly. I know that he knows that I know that he knows that I know. So where do we stop?
Well, now you could let him throw over again, because he won't throw over 3 times in a row, or you just wait for 3 and 2.
Not going, and it's bounced foul, third base side by Rowland.
I mean, to really get intricate and to think how much sometimes I overthink this game, I think that a pitcher will not throw over 3 times when he's on the road because he gets booed so often. But at home, he has a tendency to throw over 3 times more often.
Now, that doesn't sound like something you've just thought of. That sounds like
he's been booed.
You have lived.
I've been booed and lived and thought, they're thinking I'm getting tired of this, and I keep going. I've gone over as many as 5 times. I remember hearing Candlestick. I almost had it going.
Pops him up, back of first. Everything tricky in the conditions here as Burris backs up and makes the catch for out number 1.
I'll tell you what, these 2 pitchers here tonight, they need to throw some strikes and not be feeling for the strike zone. There's one thing to have a feel about your delivery, but you have to have commitment right at the moment of truth. And both of them, for me, Jonathan Sanchez here, right when their feet are landing, when their foot comes down and it's time for the moment of truth, they are not accelerating and believing. You watch their head pull offline, you watch their bodies kind of spin out, and they're really not fully committed to throwing strikes.
You can see a very high pitch count of Volquez through 21 pitches in the bottom of the first. Sanchez is about to throw his 30th, and he's got one out here in the second. Is it all mechanics, though, Oral? And how much can you change a 26, 27-year-old guy's mechanics?
Well, they're going to look great. They're going to look like big leaguers, but there are small things that you can change about where their head is slightly, maybe where they're shifting their weight. Think about that 16-pound bowling ball sitting on your shoulders. That's a big deal.
Runner goes, pitch low, throw down, the tag, and they got him.
Well, Stewart's in this game because he's a catch and throw guy, and this is Jay Bruce getting a good jump off of first base, and Stewart being pitcher perfect. This pitch comes in. You see him come up, exchange his feet. His left foot was there, that his right foot gets there. He makes a perfect throw and a perfect tag. If it's not perfect, he's safe. Here goes the right foot, the left foot. Take a hike. I'm glad I'm playing in the big leagues.
The Giants, of course, not getting much offense from their catchers since the Buster Posey injury, just hoping for some good defense and getting it there from Stewart. 1-1 now on left fielder Johnny Gomes. There's Eli Whiteside, who again has become the #1 catcher since the injury to Posey. A lot of people wondering if the Giants are going to go out and try to get somebody. But who's out there? Who's available that they could bring in? And now, of course, they've got another injury, the Freddie Sanchez injury at second base. A serious shoulder injury at the moment being described as a dislocated shoulder. So two of the better hitters, Bobby, in a lineup that needs all the good hitters that it can get. They're on the DL right now.
And two of the better people in a GM and an assistant GM's office in Brian Sabian and Dick Tidrow. If someone's out there, they're going to find them.
They just signed Bill Hall to get some playing time for the injured Sanchez.
Brian will work the phones, but he'll also work the people that he knows in baseball. Dick Tidrow is one of those guys who uses his instinct as well as the knowledge that he gets.
When you say who's available out there, you're not going to find somebody better than Chris Stewart, right? What we've seen already, blocking the ball in the dirt, throwing that guy out at second. He's just looking for another 100 points or maybe 150 points behind the plate in the batting average. I think he's hitting about 071.
I think that 150 points is going to be tough to come by.
Tough to find.
Yeah.
Gomes is gone and the inning is over. To the bottom of the second, no score at AT&T Park. Cody Ross leads off the bottom of the second for the Giants in a scoreless game. It'll be Ross, Brandon Crawford, and Manny Burris, the 5, 6, and 7 hitters in Bruce Bochy's lineup, against Reds right-hander Edinson Volquez. Ripped foul down the third baseline.
You know, Dan, you'd think with the shadows right now it'd be hard to see the ball, but as Bobby will remind us, why isn't it?
Well, it isn't, because those shadows are about 7 to 8 feet out in front of home plate, and you actually track the ball right in the sunlight until it gets to the shadow. You don't see the ball after that anyway.
So as they get closer to the pitcher, it will get harder for the hitter?
As the shadow gets closer to the pitcher and further from home plate, it will be harder for the hitter to see the ball, because then there'll be the contrast of light to shadow. But right now, they'll see it all the way. Or at least as far as they'll see it anyway.
So he's saying with perfect light,
right?
You don't see it. You don't see it the last 15 feet anyway.
Right.
So it doesn't matter that that's in the shadows now.
Or maybe the last 7 or 8 feet, I guess, Earl, is what they say.
Yeah.
Unless it's a slow pitch, and then you can track it a little further. At 90 miles an hour, you lose it right about 8 feet out in front of the plate. Remember, when you deal with 60 feet 6 inches, that's from the front of the rubber to the back of home plate, not to the front of home plate. So, you know, there's this distance out there where it's an invisible zone, and right now the shadow's in the invisible zone.
Here's Brandon Crawford. Crawford has come up and done a fine job defensively. Again, all kinds of injuries for the Giants. Sandoval out, Tejada moving to third. Crawford coming up, playing a very fine shortstop for the Giants. Played some Double-A last year, was at Single-A this year, recuperating from a broken finger when the Giants made the call and summoned him all the way to the big leagues. And Bruce Bochy says he is the best defensive shortstop they've got. And again, somebody's going to have to move around a little bit when the Panda comes back, which will be Tuesday in Arizona. So does Tejada go to short? Does Crawford stay at short?
Yes.
You want to
Crawford stays at short. Yes.
And Bobby says Crawford stays at short.
Yes.
Does Sandoval play some first? Maybe Huff gets some time off from time to time?
He's starting to sound like Rain Man.
I don't have much time. It's in between pitches. Just trying to get it all in.
All right, so answer this in a word. Does Miguel Tejada, with Freddie Sanchez now out, does Miguel Tejada play some second?
Yes. Even though he hasn't played second in his career, I think he'll be moving over to second. Sandoval will play third and first, and they're going to let this kid get his feet wet and be an integral part of this team. I think he's a very good-looking player. He's not seasoned, but he's from this area. He's a college graduate. He's a guy who believes in himself. I love his swing, and I think he has the best range of anyone in uniform for the Giants.
Three-two. Well, one other thing that was floated around here the last couple of days is the possibility of Pablo Sandoval catching once or twice a week. We were in Bruce Bochy's office. What was the sense you got?
I got the sense that he's afraid of another injury, getting a foul ball off his fingers. He needs his bat, and he needs him to be playing this entire season. So I doubt he'll be behind the plate very much.
Sandoval did used to catch here and there, but it does seem like a long shot at this point. Again, the 3-2, and a check swing foul off by Crawford. One thing that Bruce Bochy knows for sure, they need Sandoval in their lineup. Again, the second worst offensive team in the National League in terms of runs per game. Sandoval has rededicated himself, lost some weight coming back from a broken hamate bone. They hope to have him back Tuesday in Arizona, and they'll put him right in the middle of that lineup. They need his bat. Grounded to short. And the former Giant Renteria throws out Crawford, 2 down. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues this week. Beginning tomorrow night at 7 Eastern, the New York Yankees host the Cleveland Indians in a wraparound series, a 4-gamer. The Yankees beating the Indians 9-1 today. And then at 7 Eastern on Wednesday night baseball presented by Sears Lawn and Garden. It'll be the Yankees again as they host the Texas Rangers. Derek Jeter with 2 hits today, now at 2,993. Manny Burris chops one foul. We'll have the Yankees tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and again Sunday night. We will have the Yankees at Chicago as they take on the Cubs. So a good chance that Jeter will make some history on our air at some point over the next 8 days or so. I think the big question for New York fans is, will Jeter get the historic hit at home? He'll have to do it in the next 4 games. 7 hits away. They've got 4 more games on this homestand before they head to Wrigley Field.
And Tony Gwynn, when giving Derek advice, was to relax and remember that the last 10 are the toughest 10 that you ever get. So don't think it's going to be easy, but try to enjoy yourself as you're going.
On the appeal, he went, says Jeff Nelson. If Manny Burris strikes out, and the inning is over. We're at the end of 2 at AT&T Park with the Baseball Tonight update coming up on the other side. No score, Reds and Giants.
First, but the focus is going to be on the captain.
Well, certainly on Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter has been the model of consistency and longevity, and get 3,000 hits, that's something very difficult to do.
In one uniform, it is really amazing, actually.
Yeah, they said the last 10's the hardest to get, but those other 2,990 aren't easy either.
How you feel about your Brewers in first place?
The best. They're the best. I picked them, Carl. They're running away. It's over.
And
Give up.
The pitching has certainly come and scoring offense, but Prince Fielder, what he's been able to do has been great.
We got a good pitching matchup here, Dan.
No scores. We go to the 3rd inning. Carl, thank you. Edgar Renteria hits a liner to center field, caught by Torres for out number 1. One of the other issues that has come up in the last couple of days, reported by Buster Olney, you may have read it on ESPN.com, is the possibility, just some preliminary discussion that has gone on, that perhaps at the end of this year, baseball will realign, move one National League team to the American League, so you have 15 and 15, and perhaps do away with divisions. Just have 2 15-team leagues where the top 5 in each league, again with the possibility of an extra wild card team making it in each league next year. So it could be an entirely different system. Buster, what can you tell us about this?
Well, sources are telling me that the odds of this happening are probably less than 50-50 at this point, but one official said, hey, this is the type of thing that could gather momentum as they continue to go.
Ramon Hernandez with a bouncer through the left side for a base hit. Buster, where did this come from? What's the origin of this?
Well, the key to this entire conversation is that the players are behind it because they're concerned about equity. If you're a player on the Cincinnati Reds, you're one of 6 teams in the National League Central. You have a 1 in 6 chance of being a division winner. If you're in the American League West, you have a 1 in 4 chance. So I think from the Players Association side, They want to even out the playing field for all of their players, and that is a really important point on this entire issue and in these discussions.
Is there a sense that a certain National League team may be the leading candidate to move to the American League if this were to happen?
Executives that I've spoken to are speculating, that's all it is at this point, that the Houston Astros would be a natural team, because if they move to the American League, you could foster the rivalry between the two Texas teams, the Rangers and the Astros. But of course, this has to be approved by the other owners. One thing to keep in mind, the Astros are in the middle of being sold, which means baseball could say to Jim Crane, the incoming Astros owner, hey, if you want to be a part of this, this is something that we want you to agree to.
Edinson Volquez up looking to bunt. One last thing, Buster. What about league play? How would this affect it? Obviously, you would need it with an odd number of teams in both leagues.
That's exactly right. It would have to go on literally in every part of every week because of those odd number of teams. And one of the sticking points, it's not something that can be altered, is do you really want a team playing an interleague series in the last week of the regular season? I don't think that's going to be a major stumbling block.
Bunted foul. Buster, thank you. Bobby, what do you think about this?
Well, I think that it's about a 40% chance right now. I don't think it's going to happen the way Buster says it. It's a great story that we're breaking, but I think these owners are going to not like the idea that 5 teams might be totally out of it before the All-Star break if you have 2 divisions with 15 teams in each. But it's a great topic.
Volquez swings this time, and he fouls it back, 1-2.
I'm for anything that helps competitive balance and helps the players actually come to the beginning of the year and come into spring training and think they have a better chance than somebody else. I don't like that inequity, but I think that you're right. I think that this is all about, can you make teams and games viable at the end of the year? How many can you keep going, and how many people can you keep attracting to games through the whole 162 games?
Yes, he did, says home plate umpire Mike Esterbrook. Volquez offered at it, so he's gone 2 down. Let's go back down to Buster again.
Bobby, you mentioned that the concern about teams being out of it, the bottom 5 in the league. Some of the players I spoke with say that what they support is 3 divisions of 5 teams each, essentially keep the current format except shift one of the teams from the 6-team division over to the American League.
I'm with you there, Bust. I think that would make a lot of teams happy, a lot of players happy.
And as Buster said, what he's heard is there is less than a 50-50 chance that this is going to go through. But one thing that could go through is adding an extra wild card team in each league, upping it to 5 teams getting into the playoffs in each league. Drew Stubbs with a base hit into center field. Hernandez up to second, 2 on with 2 down for the Reds here in the 3rd.
And remember, the thing in these shadows, not to jump back and forth, Earl, is when there's a breaking ball and you're trying to pick up depth and spin, you can't do it. And even in a bunting situation, as this ball is spinning, it goes from a bright ball to a dark ball. He misses that by 1.5 feet, doesn't even know where the ball's going. He lost it halfway. You could hit a fastball in the shadows because you see it come out of the hand, and you're kind of guessing right from the beginning where it's going to be at the end. The breaking ball is what's very difficult in these conditions.
First and second, 2 down for Brandon Phillips. Oral, in this kind of a situation, would you throw more breaking balls?
Yep, more breaking balls and more low balls. You want the ball to end up someplace different than where it starts. So when you throw the ball high, it has less movement. It's coming in straighter. It has less decline in it because you've thrown it harder, so gravity's not taking it down faster. So you throw more 2-seamers. That because gravity takes the ball down, it has more movement, and you throw more breaking balls because they can't see the red on the ball. When the ball spins for a breaking ball, the ball actually changes color a little bit, and so the hitter can pick up the spin or the change in the color, but in these conditions they can't. The hitter's favorite pitch in this light would be a high fastball.
Exactly, in my opinion.
Closest to his eyes, changes height the least. Usually doesn't go left or right.
The breaking ball down and in where it's crossing across the plate and crossing those shadows is treacherous. Forget it.
So a lot of disadvantages for the hitters right now. No score, 3rd inning. The 1-1 in the dirt, ball 2. Sanchez has given up 2 walks, 2 hits, but no runs yet through 2 2/3. He has 3 strikeouts. He has walked 47 batters this year. That's the most of any pitcher in the National League. He's 4-4. A respectable ERA of 3.51, but that's because he's got the stuff to get himself out of the trouble that he gets himself into with the walks.
And he's in trouble here behind an account with Joey Votto on deck. He looks for another sign. I think it has to be a fastball situation.
Grounded to third. Tejada will make the play to end the inning and then look for the fourth out over at first, but didn't need to get that one, Miggy. Inning over, no score, going to the bottom of the third.
Boy, do they have bridges here. The Golden Gate, the Bay Bridge, and more. Mighty spans linking the great communities of Northern California. But you could think, too, that the San Francisco Giants are the greatest bridge around, linking baseball history that goes across the country, across the decades. They span societies, races, linking people to the great game, and they promise to carry forward to uncharted prospects and success in the future, too.
And the Giants with the ultimate success last season, winning the World Series. You know, if you sit in certain spots in this ballpark, you can see that Bay Bridge. You sit out in the right field bleachers, you can see the Bay Bridge. There's the Golden Gate Bridge just a little bit west of us. Just a beautiful ballpark in a great location. Chris Stewart leads it off. The question I get asked, honestly, more than any other question about the job that I have, what's your favorite ballpark to go to? And I always give two. We're at one of them tonight. We're going to be at the other one next week when we go to Wrigley Field. But this one is just, it's breathtaking. It really is.
Well, this is slam dunk the best new ballpark.
Yep.
And then Wrigley and Fenway for me are right up there.
I think baseball's done a great job with the new parks. I love all the ballparks in the major leagues now.
Ballpark in Pittsburgh that has the water element also.
Gorgeous.
And the views. And they just need a better team. Maybe that young team start playing a little better.
They're getting there.
More people get to see that ballpark.
They're getting there. Good year so far for them.
Coming around.
Not a good series in New York, but a good season so far.
Yep. 2 games under 500 right now. 6 games out of first. In the National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers are now the leaders in the Central after beating St. Louis earlier today. Took a little off. Good changeup there from Volquez, and Stewart swings over the top, 1 down.
Yeah, that right field wall looks approachable to 55 splash hits. Since this ballpark was built in 2000, only 32 right-handed hitters have gone over the right field wall, which is 24 foot high, Willie Mays wall, and then it goes down to 20 feet high down there. But the wind blows in off the water, and the right-handed hitters really can't reach it.
And just in case somebody out there didn't know that Willie Mays wore number 24, that's the reason it's 24 feet high.
Exactly.
Sharply hit to Phillips out at second, and Sanchez is retired, 2 down. They had a Legends game here at AT&T Park yesterday, and a guy who, hey, you want to talk about a pretty swing.
Will a thrill.
Man, could he swing the bat, and man, can he still swing the bat. One bounce and into McCovey Cove. Go get him, Will. You start talking about the nicest swings in a baseball, that man's right there is on the short list.
I had to face that swing. It wasn't real pretty to me. It was a great competitor. A lot of fun to play against.
Two down, nobody on. Andres Torres is the batter. 55 total splash hits into McCovey Cove. Not surprisingly, Barry Bonds has most of them with 35. The last was by the Panda, Pablo Sandoval, September 30th of last season. 2 balls and a strike on Torres. The shadow now is just starting to creep up the front side of the mound, but Oral, still a huge advantage for the pitcher?
I still think it is. I'd love to hear Barry Larkin, when we come back on a Baseball Tonight set, talk a little bit about it, when it creeped away for him.
Votto juggles, recovers, and makes the play. 8 in a row now set down by Edinson Volquez, and we are scoreless at the end of 3. Top of the 4th inning at AT&T Park. Dan Shulman, Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, Wendy Nixon, and Buster Olney. Plus Carl Ravitch, John Kruk, Barry Larkin with Baseball Tonight. All here in San Francisco. No scores we go to the 4th inning. And here comes the heart of the order for the Reds. Beginning with Joey Votto.
Dan, that ball was a foot outside, and Joey was kind of leaning out of the way as it was being delivered. Remember, as soon as the ball leaves the pitcher's hand, the first thing the hitter does is, do I have to duck or can I swing? When a guy's wild out there, you don't see the ball very well, it's not comfortable. He's not comfortable.
We're laughing because we know what that looks like down there, and it's just a blur.
So between the wildness and the shadows, this is about as uncomfortable as a major league hitter can be?
A great major league hitter. So remember, you're trying to pick it up early, but he picks it up late and he goes, oh, God, where is it? Is it in here? Oh, I'm not sure. Oh. And the next one got closer. Oh, my God.
Exhale and feel my chest is still there.
Flinching a little bit on a 3-0 pitch that drops in for a strike.
Yeah. He'll either swing and hope that the ball's in a certain place, or he'll take this and hope that it's a ball.
Oh. And down to first he goes. It did clip him, so Votto hit by a pitch as he is aboard to lead off the fourth.
Once again, these two pitchers go to bed at night with the mantra going, don't walk the leadoff hitter. So what do? Here's that last pitch to Joey, and he says, the at-bat is over. Good luck, Jay. You get him, kid. But they do. They go to bed thinking, don't walk the leadoff hitter. It has to be. What do you think, Earl? You can't say what not to do. You have to say what to do.
You have to go active positive, not active negative.
So Votto the lead, Bruce the batter.
You have to think about what you want to do, not think about what you don't want to do, because the brain does not pick up the I do not want to. It only picks up what you're saying. And so you have to think, I'm going to throw a strike right here.
Exactly.
Something that Sanchez has struggled to do on so many occasions in his career.
And something that all coaches should think about out there, little league time. Tell the kids what to do.
3 levels of coaching for me. First level is you tell people what they're doing wrong. That doesn't really help.
No.
Second level is you tell them what to do it right. That's good. We're moving up the ladder. And the third level is to really understand something, find one thing that fixes 3 or 4 things. So you only have to, because you can't think about 4 and 5 things you're doing wrong when you go to do something athletic, but you can concentrate on one.
Big lead by Votto at first, not going, and the pitch is taken for ball 2 by Jay Bruce.
I think Joey Votto has a one-way lead out there, getting a very big lead, trying to distract Sanchez, give Jay Bruce a chance of possibly walking also, and creating a big inning here. Oh, he distracted him.
Definitely did.
Votto does have some speed. He's got 6 stolen bases on the season.
When you get that big of a lead, you're just going to get way out there and think about going back to first.
Appeal to third, didn't go. 3-1 the count on Bruce.
They're working together out there, Joey Votto and Jay Bruce. I think the hitting together in the lineup, not fearing left-handers, having the speed and power, having that will be what will carry Cincinnati the rest of this season.
Big pitch here in the 4th inning for Jonathan Sanchez. Swing and a miss, full count. Now he's got to make another big pitch.
Well, the MO on Jonathan Sanchez is once he starts to lose it, he can go very fast. So these are huge pitches, Dan, because he's really has a tough time stopping the bleeding sometimes.
Out of play, and Votto looked, Bobby, like he wanted to go, but maybe just didn't pick up the move of Sanchez in time.
He actually had too big of a lead. He thought with that big lead on 3-2 they're going to throw over, so he hesitated. Oh, I can't go.
Look at everybody shielding their eyes from the sun. Tough conditions here tonight. Between the wind, the sun, the shadows, the glare, depending on who you are and where you're playing in this ballpark.
Shadows are almost a non-factor now. About another 20 minutes and everything will be okay with the shadows. Still create a little glare off center field.
Votto shortens up the lead a lot, and Bruce takes down and away ball 4. So first and second, nobody out.
I just don't get the breaking ball there. You're 3-2. You've got guys up there that are feeling for the ball, not really seeing it very well. You just throw a nice solid fastball away. You should get a double play ball.
But I really do give a little assist to Joey Votto. I mean, you don't see that at the major league level very often, where a runner can truly distract the pitcher. Ricky Henderson did it for sure every time he got on, but Joey gave him 4 different looks out there. The real big lead, the short lead, was going back to first as he threw to first. And that time he was just jumping around a little, and I think Jonathan was totally whacked out, totally distracted.
And now he's worked himself into a jam. Hit a batter, walked a batter.
Dave Righetti, who's out there, he's a no-hit pitcher himself, a left-handed pitcher himself, threw a no-hitter for the Yankees, and takes Jonathan Sanchez as a personal project, that he's his guy, and it's been as tough a project as Dave has had his entire career, and his career has been one fabulous career as a pitching coach and player.
Here's Scott Rowland now. First and second, nobody out. Rowland popped up his first time up. No score here in the 4th inning. And just low, ball 1. At one point, Rowland, one of the game's best all-around players. Not only a magnificent defensive third baseman, but one of the game's most dangerous hitters. Back in his days with St. Louis, but the shoulder problem, left shoulder, has robbed him of some of that ability. Hits this one pretty well to deep left field. Cody Ross going back, and it's over his head. Votto around third. He will come in to score. It's an RBI double for Rowland, in Cincinnati has a 1-0 lead.
Missed with a fastball down to the first pitch, and Scott Rowland is hitting behind the 2 lefties because his effectiveness is not there to break him up. But if he keeps swinging the bat like this, a little mistake by Jonathan Sanchez up on the outer half of the plate, and Rowland drives this ball to left field. Talking to Dusty Baker before the game, he said he loves the way Rowland's been swinging the bat, and Sanchez left one up, and he deposited out there in the gap.
So run in, 2 in scoring position, nobody out, and the batter will be left fielder Johnny Gomes. We'd like to welcome those of you who may have been watching Game 6 of the NBA Finals, which has now gone to halftime. We are here in the 4th inning in San Francisco, the 4th and final game of the series between the Reds and Giants. The Reds winning 2 of the first 3 and leading tonight 1-0. Scott Rowland just doubled in a run, and the Reds are looking for a big inning with Jay Bruce at third, Rowland at second, nobody out, and Jonathan Sanchez a bit on the ropes right now, struggling for his command. Falls behind 2-0. And boy, against a team as good offensively as the Reds are, the best offensive team in the National League this year, this kind of a situation can erupt on Sanchez in a hurry.
You're almost surprised to see Bruce Bochy playing the infield back here and giving a runaway even though there's no outs. I'm not sure that they could afford to go down by 2. Infield's back now, ground ball to the middle infielders. Has a run come in. If it's a ground ball second, you have another runner at third and a run in. If you play in and you give up 2 runs, that's even more of a deficit. But this is a team that just gets 3 runs a game here at home.
3-0 the count on Gomes. Struck out his first time up. And another walk.
Well, you said when he loses his control, he really loses it, and you're seeing it here. Walk the leadoff hitter, a left-handed hitter. Walk the second place hitter, a left-handed hitter. Grooves and hangs a breaking ball hitter for a double, and then comes nowhere close to Johnny Gomes. And now we have a bases loaded situation. No one up yet in the bullpen, but Jonathan has lost it, and he's got to find it.
Dave Righetti's already been to the mound this inning, so he can't get another visit from Bochy or Righetti. They'd have to take him out. Bullpen still quiet. And here comes former Giant and last year's World Series MVP, Edgar Renteria. Renteria got a huge ovation here on Thursday when he received his World Series ring at a nice pregame ceremony. And a couple of homers, drove in 6 in the World Series win over the Rangers last year. A chance to do some damage against his old team here. Bases loaded, nobody out. The Giants team of last October, you just never knew from game to game. You know, Cody Ross comes in late in the season and wins National League Championship Series MVP. Edgar Renteria with these numbers wins World Series MVP. Buster Posey had some big hits. Javier Lopez was so important in the postseason, getting out lefty batters, especially in the NLCS. It was truly a team effort for the Giants. And again on Thursday, Renteria returning here to San Francisco, and was given his World Series ring. Got a huge ovation embraced by his former teammates, the Giants ownership and management. A very nice moment for Renteria, who, as Oral reminded me, was part of another World Series team some years ago, going back to '97.
The Florida Marlins got the final hit to beat the Cleveland Indians. I was happy to play for the Cleveland Indians. Remember, that game was 7th game of the World Series, extra innings. They won it in the 12th.
And Sanchez might have come up with the biggest pitch of the game for him, a changeup on 2-1 to get back into the count. Get this out with the bottom of the order.
High fly ball to left field and deep, racing into the shadows. Ross makes the catch on the warning track. Bruce will tag and score. The other runners go back 2-0 Reds.
Cody Ross did a very good job of tracking that ball. Right off the bat, it was off the end of the bat, but the ball really carried out to left. He got a very good angle on it, got the rhythm, ball was up, reached out right at the end. And I really like when players do that, when they run with their glove down and just reach out at the end. You see so many players run with their glove up too early, and that slows them down and loses their perception of where the ball is going to be.
Now Ramon Hernandez, a pretty dangerous number 8 hitter. He takes a slow breaking ball in for a strike. This speaks to the depth of the Cincinnati lineup. The number 8 hitter is hitting .315 with 7 home runs. And he's not even a full-time player. Splits duties behind the plate with Hannigan.
So he'd be hitting third for the Giants.
Yep.
Ground ball to third, to second one, on to first. In time, double play, inning over. It could have been worse for Jonathan Sanchez, but the Reds do get a couple. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. We go to the bottom of the 4th in San Francisco. The Reds 2 and the Giants nothing. Time now for FaceTime, presented by Edward Jones. Wendy Nix with Dusty Baker between innings.
Dusty, Edinson Volk has pitched well in his first start on Tuesday since returning from the minor leagues. Tonight, his second. What have you seen so far?
Well, you know, early he didn't have his command of his fastball, but as the game goes on, it seems like he has better command of his fastball, which makes it tough on the other hitters as far as, you know, staying off his changeup, his nasty changeup, and his breaking ball.
You told us earlier today that you felt like you'd weathered a difficult stretch in regards to your pitching and were on the cusp of playing some better baseball. Why is that?
Well, I just feel it. I mean, you know, we've had 3 or 4 very good pitch games in a row, and our bats are starting to come alive. We usually play great defense, and you can just sort of feel when things are, you know, coming together, and your guys feel it, and they start believing it.
Dusty, thank you. Dan?
Wendy, thank you. Well, Dusty Baker, I think you could characterize him, Bobby, as a feel guy. He's not just crunching numbers and looking at matchups. Miguel Tejada leads off the bottom of the fourth. He's looking into the souls of his players, right? I mean, he's a field guy.
He's a field guy. He's been through it, a lot of it. He's a very good players manager. And, you know, his team has been 500 7 times this year. Never been more than 3 over 500. Never been under 500. And they could go to 3 over tonight.
Would you say that this is a team that should be and eventually will be more than 3 games over 500? This is a legitimate contender in the National League Central?
Absolutely. They're going to contend, and they're going to contend with the Brewers, who I think are really the class of this division right now.
The Brewers beating St. Louis, Oral, 4-3 today. Milwaukee moving a half game ahead of the Cardinals. There are the Reds 4 games out, and the Pirates hanging around 6 back.
You know, Dusty's focus has really been on the rotation and getting them going. And the one thing he's talked about as they're starting to come together and get well-pitched games is that his starters are going to have fewer innings than all the other contending starters because their starters haven't been going very deep in games.
Yep. And Dusty talked about it. The bats are starting to come around, and they're already #1 in the league in offense. There are some great defensive players on this team. The bullpen is pretty deep. If their starters go out there and just keep them in the game, give them a consistent 6 or 7 innings, they're going to win a lot more than they're going to lose.
And the residual of the starters going longer, the bullpen goes less. They were a little abused early in the season. He's now catching up with his bullpen usage.
Tejada lifts a fly ball to right field. Bruce, battling the sun, will make the catch down the line for out #1.
You know, when the sun's directly overhead, fielders have sunglasses that they use, but they also use their glove to go between the sun and their face, so their face is in a shadow, and track the ball right down into the glove. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is just turning your body so you see the ball in the sky that the sun's not in. He fought the sun, and he won.
9 in a row now set down by Volquez. Here's Shearholtz. Left center field, dropping for a base hit. The first hit for the Giants since Miguel Tejada had a base hit back in the first inning. Here's Aubrey Huff. Just 6 for his last 35. Here's how funny this sport is. Huff hit 3 home runs against the Cardinals on June the 2nd, and since then is in a slump. 6 for his last 35. A strike at the knees.
Yeah, and Oral mentioned players are feel. They know what it feels like. When you're a home run hitter and you start hitting home runs, you get that feeling and you can hit them in bunches. Aubrey Huff's not really a home run hitter. When you hit a few home runs, then you try to figure out what you're doing. You don't really know that feeling, and that's why he's in a slump. Happens with a lot of little guys. They'll hit a home run. Next, 1 for 25 because they're trying to figure out, what was that feeling? I don't know that feeling. I want it, but I don't know it. He's real good when he goes gap to gap. And in this ballpark, that's what you should do.
Down the left field line. Fair ball. Shearholtz will come in to score on a double by Huff. It's 2-1.
Edinson Volquez needs to make some quality pitches. That was a pretty good pitch. It was on the outer half, almost on the corner, just a little up. Aubrey Huff did a good piece of hitting it where it was pitched, slicing it down that line. I'll tell you what, Volquez is still battling the demons. When he went down to the minor leagues for 2 starts, after his first 10 starts, he had an ERA of 6.35. So he is vulnerable mentally and physically.
Here's Cody Ross. A low strike call there on Ross, who didn't like it. He grounded out his first time up. The Shadows now beyond the mound, out near second base, moving toward the outfield. It is 6:30 local time here in San Francisco. The Giants on the board now, trailing 2-1. And we might be even now with a ball and a strike. Either way, it's 1-1, right?
He gets the low call. He doesn't say a thing. Then he throws a low pitch and he doesn't get the call, and he's questioning the umpire. That'll make friends amongst the men in blue. Mike Easterbrook behind the plate. I think he's got the count right.
Down low, ball 2. As Earl mentioned, Volquez spent some time in the minors, and he said, quote, "I knew I needed it. I had to do something." So he took the demotion in stride, made 2 starts down to the minors, has come back, pitched well in his first start back on Tuesday against the Cubs. And everything was going very well here tonight until the last 2 batters. And now Volquez looks a little flustered with what's going on. 3-1. Well, with a changeup there, and he missed down and away.
That's his pitch, that fastball command, and then the changeup is his swing and miss pitch. It's really more of an out pitch compared to his breaking ball.
And he's flustered, Earl, because he made good pitches. Broke a bat, got a base hit, threw a ball away, gave up a double. Then a couple calls that weren't his calls, and right there, 2-1, threw the changeup after the fastball, and Cody wasn't biting. He's frustrated right now. Can't figure out what he has to do to get an out.
Missed outside, ball 4. Ramon Hernandez to the mound. Pitching coach Brian Price is going to visit as well. Well, we've talked a lot about the shadows and the impact that has had on the game here tonight. Let's show you a time lapse quickly of how the shadows have been changing. This is from the first pitch of the game going up until about 5 minutes ago. As you see how things have changed over the first 4 innings of the game, the rapidly changing conditions that really have had an impact on the hitters and the fielders from the moment this game began, Oral.
It's something you deal with, and you ask your hitters how was the vision the last at bat before you take the mound every inning to see how the vision is for them. And if you happen to be up there as a pitcher bunting, you already know, you don't have to ask, but you get a gauge on it every inning from your teammates.
Big moment here for young Brandon Crawford, 24-year-old rookie, 4th round pick back in 2008. First and second, 1 out. Breaking ball low.
I do like Crawford's approach at the plate, Earl. I think his timing is a little tentative right now, but I think that his mechanic is one that will be successful at the major league level. And as I said earlier, it's just what the Giants need.
Play.
I think Volquez has to pitch to contact here. It's not that he's missing by much. It's that little bit of confidence that you need to say, I can get people out within the strike zone. I don't have to make them swing and miss. My stuff is good enough. I can change speeds well enough. My breaking ball sharp enough to pitch within the strike zone and attack the hitters.
Changeup gets the outside corner for a strike.
That's how you earn your stripes as a young hitter. Don't look back when you think that ball's outside.
A run in, 2 men on, 1 out. Tried to go there again with a changeup, too far outside, and Crawford wouldn't chase.
Big pitch here because you don't want to go to 3-2 and get yourself out of a double play situation. They might start the runners 3-2 with 1 out. This is the last pitch that you cannot throw a ball and keep your double play in order.
And as you're sitting in that Giant dugout, you're wondering what this young kid is all about. He's a left-handed hitter. Audrey Huff on second base. If you do start him and he swings and misses, the inning's over because it's an easy out at third base. You haven't seen him very much. You want to put the trust in him, and it's 2-1 game here in the fourth inning. I think Bruce will send them and try to build confidence. If it gets a 3-2.
Huff the runner at second. Ross is at first. Change up, a swing and a miss, and he gets him for the second out.
Well, it's a changeup, and he does great arm action. You see the depth and movement. That ball actually looked like it could have been a fastball almost on the inner half. Ends up a changeup on the outer half, out in front. Young hitter, veteran hitter, whatever hitter, that pitch has been swung and missed at an awful lot. The changeup of Volquez.
So 2 down now, and the batter is the second baseman, Manny Burris. Breaking ball for a strike. Now Volquez, as effective with his changeup as just about any pitcher in a baseball, the highest swing and miss percentage on changeups. Volquez, one of the highest swing and miss percentages on that change in all of baseball.
And the only right-hander on that group.
How about Francisco Liriano, who was on that graphic? Already a no-hitter earlier this year, a no-hitter through 7 today for Minnesota, which is starting to play a little bit better. The Twins beating the Rangers 6-1 today.
And the Cincinnati Red that many remember, who had a great changeup, same type of swing and miss changeup, power pitch. Mario Soto is the teacher that Volquez learned it from.
Worked with him in the minor leagues when he was down there. He and Ted Power, the AAA pitching coach for the Reds.
Into the fastball there, but 0-2. And a swing and a foul back as Burris hangs in there.
Well, it looks like he was right on that fastball right there, but pitchers know that's exactly what you want them to think. You throw it 96, you throw it up, you have him follow it straight back, then you drop this changeup low and away, he misses it by 2 feet. You go into the dugout holding a 2-1 lead.
If you throw the changeup here, you make sure you bounce it because the batter knows you have confidence in it because you just got to strike out. So it's a good time to double up with the fastball, but not try and get him out with the fastball. Just double up to kind of get it in his head. Or if you go to the out pitch, make it a real good one.
Changeup line to third to end the inning. The Giants get a run on the RBI double by Huff, but Volquez gets out of it with the lead intact. Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's, let's build something together. And Verizon, with a wide selection of tablets at great prices from those who know them best. Verizon. With Bobby Valentine and Oral Hershiser, I'm Dan Schulman, welcoming you back to AT&T Park, the beautiful home of the San Francisco Giants. We go to the 5th inning with the Reds, who have taken 2 of the first 3 in this 4-game series, leading 2-1. And a swing and a shot right back up the middle and into center field. A base hit for Volquez. Time now for more FaceTime, presented by Edward Jones. Buster Olney with Bruce Bochy between innings.
Bruce, Jonathan Sanchez struggled with his command the last half inning. What's the in-game adjustment he needs to make to get that back?
Well, more than anything, we got to slow him down a little bit. He got out of sync there, and his slot changes a little bit. But especially with the left-hand batters, there's something he's been working on. But he's got good stuff tonight, especially in the shadows. That's the last thing you want to see is walking a couple of hitters.
Another one-run game. How is it that you develop so much confidence, your team, in one-run games?
Well, I think it goes back to last year. First of all, we don't score a lot of runs, and our strength is our pitching, so we play a lot of tight games, and we did last year, and this year we're doing the same thing, and we have found a way to win them. And the more you win those games, the more your confidence grows to beat the other club, and these guys know how important every pitch, every play, every at-bat is.
Bruce, thanks. Dan, back to you.
You love Bruce Bochy, the glass is half full. Dwayne Kuiper, the outstanding play-by-play man, one of the great broadcasters for the San Francisco Giants, as it's a foul ball, described Giants baseball last year as torture. And I don't remember Bruce Bochy disagreeing with him, but you can see Bruce Bochy's goatee is a lot grayer now than it was about a year and a half ago. But they are used to playing nerve-wracking, tense, one-run ball games.
But they're going to be close because of the pitching staff. And Bruce was a great big league catcher. They usually catch the ball out there for defense.
A ball and 2 strikes. The count on Stubbs. The runner at first is the pitcher Volquez. Reds lead 2-1. Upstairs. You can see the pitch count for Sanchez. He's about to throw his 80th pitch. He's looking for his first out here in the 5th inning. Kind of typical Sanchez. He's walked 4. He's hit 1. In and out of trouble all night. In some trouble here. Fair ball down the left field line. Volquez will round second and then stop. If there's no runner ahead of him, Stubbs is into second base easily, but Volquez playing it safe, so it just goes as a single for Stubbs.
And so that double's turned into a single because of the slow runner in front of him.
So it's first and second, nobody out. And really into the dangerous part of the Cincinnati lineup now. Here's Brandon Phillips.
You know, Volquez is out there on the bases early. He's going to run around a little. He's a guy without a complete game in his career. This is going to be a bullpen game for the Reds before it's all over, and this running around here might take an inning out of him.
Guillermo Mota getting loose, or getting ready to get loose down in the pen. Swing and a miss by Phillips. Phillips is the National League leader in All-Star balloting at the second base position right now. He was an All-Star last year. He is the only Red currently leading in voting at his position. Joey Votto is second to Albert Pujols at first base right now. On the corner, 0-2.
Brandon Phillips wanted to reverse there. He swung at a ball the first pitch. They're the second most aggressive team in baseball at swinging at the first pitch. The Cincinnati Reds, they're not a grinded out team. They're an aggressive swing the bat team. And then he took a pitch that he probably wanted to swing at right there in the second pitch.
So they've scored the most runs in the National League, and they're an aggressive team.
Yep.
And Bruce Bochy has a meeting with his team, and he says, we want you to be more aggressive. And they've scored the least amount of runs. So aggressive hitting probably pays off.
Phillips chases and he's gone, 1 down.
Where the mistakes have been with Jonathan Sanchez's fastball to righties and lefties. When he can throw a breaking ball like that, he's going to get some awkward swings, because most of his fastballs have been high and away to righties or up and in to lefties. And you see where that ball starts, that breaking ball. Brandon Phillips completely fooled, because most of the pitches that have left his hand tonight have been high and away to righties when they leave their hand there. But he threw a sharp, biting breaking ball and got an easy swing and miss.
Now Joey Votto, and we'll see if he has any more of a comfortable at bat than he had last time up. You can see he's done an outstanding job. Leads the National League in batting with runners in scoring position. Hitting almost 400 against lefties this year. Remarkable for a left-handed batter. Hits the ball to left field. Ross makes the catch shy of the track. And the runners will have to get back and will not. Ross throws out Volquez at second, doubles him off to end the inning. Looked like it had the makings of a big inning for the Reds here in the fifth. And because of the good throw by Ross and the bad base running by Volquez, Cincinnati gets nothing. Still Cincinnati 2 and San Francisco 1 after it looked like the Reds were really in business to try to add to their lead in the top of the fifth inning. But Edinson Volquez with some less than ideal base running, Bobby, really takes them out of a big inning.
Well, Dan, not everyone could be a good base stealer, but everyone could be a good base runner. The guy sitting to my right here was a pitcher. He was a good base runner because he prepared properly and he knew what he was supposed to do. Volquez took his team totally out of this inning, first by not going to third base on what was an obvious double, and then really upsetting his teammate Joey Votto when he gets off so far that Cody Ross could throw a ball from the left field corner to second base and double him up and take him out of the inning.
And Volquez maybe still, as you can see, thinking about that base running, those base running plays as he gets back on the mound. Great throw by Cody Ross to get Volquez at second. And Volquez starts Chris Stewart, the catcher and number 8 hitter for the Giants, with a strike here to begin the bottom of the fifth. 2-5-0 for the Reds, 1-3-0 for the Giants. Fourth and final game of this series.
kind of interesting that Chris only has one hit, and that's a bunt base hit, yet the Cincinnati defense is not respecting the bunt at all. We have first baseman and third baseman back.
Guys, this is the 18th game since Buster Posey was injured. And the two catchers, Eli Whiteside and Chris Stewart, are 9 for 54. That's a 167 average with 2 RBIs. So the Giants lost their cleanup hitter, and they're getting virtually nothing offensively from his replacements. Fouled down the third baseline, 2-2. But is there anything the Giants can do about it? Is there an available good enough catcher out there that Brian Sabian can go out and get?
For sure they're not going to give up defense for a little better offense. That guy only comes up 4 times a game, and if you get a 240 hitter, it's not really that much of a difference.
Fair ball. And Stewart on his way to second base. He's got himself a leadoff double. So here comes Sanchez. Grounded out his first time up. He's got some great hitting numbers this year, including 4 doubles. Is he up there to bunt, Bobby?
Yes. He'll be bunting here, and he'll probably be bunting at the third. We'll see what kind of defense they have on. I think Renteria will be holding the runner close. I'd let Volquez field this ball. Right now his head is anywhere but in this baseball game. He might throw the ball into the
left field.
McCovey Cove.
Throw down to second and back in safely is Stewart.
Right? I mean, he throws a 2-strike pitch right down the middle. Chris gets a double on it.
He's gotten thrown out going back to second base the half inning prior. If he fields a bunt right here, he might get a little overzealous.
Call it a hunch.
He takes the bunt off. And a big swing and a miss by Sanchez. The count 0-2.
He was swinging early, hoping he was getting a strike because it was a bunt play. And he's also swinging early because with no outs, he's trying to hit the ball to the right side and pull it. He ended up with a high and away fastball. It's going to be really hard to do anything with.
Now they put it back on with 2 strikes, and he bunts through it, so he's gone.
Well, or that's one of those other things. If you field your position and you bunt your position, you'll turn your career around. Instead of being 7-9, you could be 9-7 in a heartbeat. And here's Jonathan just not doing his job. Next time he comes up, if the score remains the same, he's going to be taken out of the game for a pinch hitter because he couldn't get the runner over to third and a possible tie situation.
Here's Andres Torres. Big picture, Bobby. If you manage these 2 pitchers, Volquez and Sanchez, would they make you a little crazy?
Oh, absolutely. They made me crazy up here. Are you kidding me? I'm just announcing the game. Great talents, though.
Yeah.
They really do have great talents, and you always respect that and enjoy watching it.
One's thrown a no-hitter. The other's won 17 games. One's been an opening day pitcher. The other's won a division clinching game. They both got some accomplishments, but you always get the feeling with both of these guys, they're not even beginning to tap that potential.
You're scratching the surface, and some of it is being able to repeat your mechanics and be a little better athlete. Is that the way you say it, Dan?
Be a little better athlete?
Athlete, I said it right.
No, it's athlete, isn't it?
Athlete, yeah, 3-syllable word.
1-2 there over the inside corner.
I think some of them also, they both lose their concentration sometimes. But they're not always prepared, showing the first inning problems that Edmondson has had.
Volquez a few years back was traded for Josh Hamilton from Texas to Cincinnati. It's sharply to short. Renteria with a good play for the second out. Holding at second is Stewart.
And Torres now can go in and say, hey, Jonathan, if you get that guy over, the infield's in. I'm on first base with an RBI. Instead, I'm sitting next to you telling you should learn how to bunt.
Exactly. So Torres is upset with Sanchez. Votto is upset with Volquez.
We got some team building.
Builds character. Or your team becomes a bunch of characters.
Well, you know what? You read a typical game story tomorrow about this game, who was the winner, the loser, the save, who drove in the winning run. But it's the base running plays, the failure to get a bunt down that really could decide the outcome of this game tonight.
Tommy Lasorda, who we both know very well, had a thing called the Yellow Pages, and he had Joe Ferguson, one of our eye in the sky coaches, keep the Yellow Pages, and it was all the little things in the game that could have made a difference. Not winning and losing always, just 90 feet. Things that you should have been able to execute at the big league level consistently. Not getting thrown out, going back to a base on a fly ball to left field. Not getting the bunt down. Not positioning yourself correctly on a pop fly, and then you lose it in the sun over by the railing.
You get your name too much in that Yellow Pages, they call 911.
They don't play here very long.
Tejada with a bouncer to third. Rolling. And the inning is over. A leadoff double is stranded for the Giants. Sanchez couldn't get the bunt down. Still 2-1 Reds.
Baseball Tonight team back in San Francisco, where the Reds and the Giants are currently in a 2-1 ball game. It's a pitcher's duel, if you will. Earlier today, great pitching from Francisco Liriano, guys. He had a no-hitter for 7 innings.
Well, and unbelievable against a great lineup in the Texas Rangers. He was dominant with his command.
97 pitches in the 8th inning. He was on top of everything. And I tell you what, they scored some runs. The Twins are back in contention.
Tommy Hanson was outstanding today for Atlanta. He struck out 14. John Lester gets another victory as Boston's offense helps out. And Chris Capuano for these stubborn Mets, who look really good playing dirt dog baseball lately to pull within a game of 500. Excuse me? The Twins
are back. I'm telling you, the Indians are coming back, and I know, John, you're not hearing me, but Joe Mauer's on his way back, and these boys are going to start making a run of it.
He hangs around Bobby too much. Twins and Padres World Series, we're there. Let's go.
Baseball Tonight team just trying to get ahead of it there, Dan, as he predicts the Twins will be back in first at some point this season.
Nicely done. We're gonna mark that one down, Carl. Thank you very much. There's still a lot of baseball left to be played. And the Twins are 26-39. They're 9 back in the American League Central, with the Indians in a bit of a free fall right now. They're in a tie with the Tigers. And Bobby and I talked before the game. We kind of marveled. The Chicago White Sox, who have played so poorly for so much of the season, they're 3.5 out.
Well, they haven't hit very well or fielded well. Their bullpen's been atrocious. Their starting pitching's been a mess, and they're 3.5 back.
Other than that,
I guess they're going to win.
Big sign. Adam Dunn's only got 7 home runs. He could reel off 30 the rest of the year.
Probably 33 if we talk about his average.
That's right. Yep. Ramon Ramirez is up in the Giants pen. 6th inning. Reds 2, Giants 1. Jonathan Sanchez still in the game for San Francisco. Jay Bruce has walked twice. After Bruce, it'll be Scott Rowland and Johnny Gomes. Bruce is 3rd in the National League in home runs, 4th in the league in RBIs.
Well, some of those people might be wondering, why is he walking the left-handers?
He has a tendency. You remember, Fernando Valenzuela was a left-handed pitcher I played with a lot, and he used to look up at the brim of his hat. Well, Jonathan Sanchez looks down. You notice that there's nobody on, and he's pitching from the stretch, so he's really lost from the windup. He's decided, I'm going to throw from the stretch to try and find some strikes, even though there's nobody on. And the reason you go to just your stretch is because there's less movement. You just got the front to back. You come in, you look for the sign. Your shoulders and your hips should already be lined up. The weight distribution isn't as hard to find because you don't have the step back. You don't get to gather the momentum and the leverage as you move with a windup.
You know, he did that after the runner was thrown out in the 2nd inning.
But he has a tendency when the left-handed hitter is up there that I think the first thing he sees that's predominant in his eye and his mind's eye is not hit the left-handed batter. He picks him up. The second predominant thing is the glove, which is the thing he should be staring at. So I think he has an easier time with righties because the first thing in his mind that he sees is the glove. The hitter is just completely out of the way.
And he gets him.
Well, he's doing just enough to win or just enough to lose, and both of them are frustrating to watch because they have such great ability. Jonathan Sanchez right here coming at you in the stretch with nobody on. Fastball low and away, right off the edge of the corner, but gets the benefit of the doubt.
Strikeout number 5 on the night for Sanchez. The pitch count continues to climb. This is a typical Sanchez game. High pitch count, a lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks, tough to hit, giving up just a .205 opponent's batting average this year, but at times his own worst enemy.
If he wasn't so tough to hit, he would be a left-handed specialist in the bullpen. Because as many times he sets the table, he can't be a successful starter.
Rolling with a high drive, deep left center field. Torres back, makes the grab on the track.
He used the entire ballpark there. It got that same fastball away and down for Rowland. He gives it a ride 400 feet to center field. That Torres tracks perfectly, knows where he is, knows the warning track, makes the catch.
That's 404 right there. 399 straight away, 404. They put a couple advertisements up to cover the sign that used to say 404 there. It's a long way, Bobby.
Yeah, to get nothing for it.
Yeah, that's a mistake by the pitcher, and good fortune it was hit there.
You can hit a ball to the gaps here that could be 10 to 15 rows deep for a home run in a lot of other ballparks. 404 to deep left center. 421 to deep right center. Aptly named Triples Alley. If you hit it there, you better get a triple.
Unless Volquez is running in front of you.
Got to let it go, Skip. Bet you Dusty's thinking the same thing. Check swing, 3-0 the count on Gomes. Gomes has struck out and walked. He was under 200 for much of the season, just in a deep slump, but Dusty Baker stuck with him, worked with him, still giving him a lot of playing time out in left field. They've got other options as he draws the walk. A 2-out walk given up. Bruce Bochy doing a little pacing. Dave Righetti doing a little pacing. The rotation, of course, the pitching in general for the Giants is the strength of the team. Tim Lincecum actually was really roughed up yesterday. 7 runs. Matt Cain's having a good year. Madison Bumgarner should be closer to 8-2 than 2-8 with the way he's pitching. Ryan Vogelsong has been one of the great stories for the Giants this season. out of the majors for a number of years.
Played in Japan,
yep.
got his mechanic together, learned to throw more pitches for strikes, and is really happy to be back.
Barry Zito, hoping to be back on the DL with a sprained foot, has made a rehab start. Will make at least 2 more. At some point, he's got to come back, and at some point, they've got to figure out what to do with him. Whether he goes into the bullpen or whether he goes into the rotation, somebody else goes into the bullpen, remains to be seen.
Well, as much as people need pitching, if he can show that he's healthy and he's credible and give the Giants 6 starting pitchers as they go into the second half of the season, I'm sure that Brian Sabean not necessarily be able to move Zito's contract, but will be able to do something to add to this offense of his team down the stretch.
Renteria with a bouncer to short, and the inning is over. To the bottom of the 6th, Reds 2, Giants 1. Welcome back to Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Folks having a good time here at AT&T Park, the home of the Giants. In spite of the fact the Giants are trailing 2-1, this is a typical San Francisco Giants game. It's close, it's low scoring. They're down a run, and they're going to try to make a comeback, something they have done very well considering how anemic they have been offensively for much of the season. They do have a lot of one-run wins, a lot of walk-off wins, 9 in fact, tied with Kansas City for the most in baseball. Here's Nate Schierholtz, responsible for a walk-off victory with a base hit in the 9th inning on Friday night. You can see just about the entire playing surface is now in shade. Just a little bit of sunlight out in deep right center field. So it's all evened up now, Earl. The hitters are back to a level playing field.
I think they're real close. The hitting background has a little glare there, and we're still almost in sunlight around the stadium, so the lights haven't really completely taken over.
Down a low ball 3.
Well, he's thinking right now, don't walk the leadoff hitter.
Volquez has walked 2 tonight. That's pretty good compared to what Sanchez has done. Sanchez has walked 5 and hit 1. Volquez has walked 3. Let's take a look now at our pro tips, brought to you by Cabot Wood Stains.
Jonathan Sanchez tonight has had an erratic fastball. He's up to the arm side to lefties. He's up to the arm side to righties, but he's done just enough to get people out, because right out of that same window to break them all. And then every once in a while he can get it to the non-arm side and throw a low and away to lefties. You see the 5 walks, the 5 Ks, but the reason only the 2 runs, 2 earned, because he's been able to make a few good pitches after falling behind usually. Limits you to 6 innings and 103 pitches instead of 7 or 8, which is going to limit your decisions and limit your potential.
Here's Aubrey Huff. Last time up, Huff doubled down the left field line, driving in the only run of the night for the Giants. That was back in the 4th inning. Up in the Cincinnati pen, right-hander Jose Arredondo. Ball and a strike on Huff.
Dan Orl, I'm surprised no one's up in the Giants pen, because I'd be surprised to see Sanchez go out there in the 7th inning with 103.
I think whoever was up is going to probably be already in, because it looked like somebody was shaking his hand on the bench. So I think he's out.
I think he's gone.
And I think the reliever's already hot.
Joey Votto's a great player, MVP last year, approaching an MVP again, will be an all-star player. I really dislike the way he holds a runner on base. That position gives him no chance to make a good tag at the back part of the bag where the runner is going to be diving into.
So you like to see the outside of his right foot up against the inside of the bag?
Yes, the home plate side of the bag, so that he can reach back and tag
like
where
that.
the runner will be. Yes, right where he just had his foot. But instead he gets in that other position and then hardly gets off when he gets up. It just does little baby steps as he turns his shoulders towards home plate. It's strange that they allow that.
Tag him between his legs.
Yeah.
So this is not something that is taught the same way by everybody?
You know, I think Albert Pujols does a similar move at first base, but 99% of teachers and 90% of fielders do it the standard way so that they can make the tag and not worry about turning your shoulders and getting into that hole. Just work a little harder to get off the base.
Inside and a full count on Huff.
So now when they throw over to first, we'll see that he can't really tag the backside of that corner. His throw will come over, he'll just kind of catch it and make a real casual tag, probably tag the runner up high in his waist on a 3-2 throw over.
Crowd really getting into it now at AT&T Park. A chance for the Giants down a run here in the bottom of the 6th. Runner goes. And a bouncer foul.
It's kind of strange they didn't throw over just to keep him from getting that extra step.
The guy that has trouble throwing strikes like Volquez, maybe Dusty's just trying to stay out of his head. And
I agree. Keep him in a groove at home plate.
Keep him in a groove, keep him concentrating. Not too many things going on between he and the catcher other than throw me a strike.
Exactly.
Shearholtz goes again. 3-2, lined into right field, a base hit. Shearholtz on his way to third.
It's good base running right there, first to third. Even though it's a line drive, you do not freeze on it, because if it's a line drive and it's caught, you're out anyway going back to first, so you just keep on going.
And this is Bruce Bochy just making things happen. This is not going to be a steal of the base. This is going to be, I'm confident of contact. I'm making it happen.
You just go. Never broke stride.
Saw the ball hitting the line right toward the second baseman. If the second baseman catches it, Orel, you're exactly right. It's a double play, and what can you do? But keep on going. You're on third base, and now there's a big inning.
Giants have had their chances. They are 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position tonight. Here's Cody Ross, a ground out and a walk. Slowly hit to short. The second one, and that's all. Fielder's choice ties the game. So the Giants have come back from 2-0 down to tie it at 2. Got a run in the fourth, another in the sixth. Activity is resuming in their pen. Activity is ongoing in the Cincinnati pen. A very typical Giants game here in the 2011 season. Here's Brandon Crawford 0 for 2.
No tag at all there.
Can't do it. It's usually just a play catch. He just catches it, throws back to the pitcher.
Ramon Ramirez up again in the Giants pen. Votto holding on Ross. 3 steals on the season. Crawford a big swing and a miss, 0-1. Well, we said this is a typical Giants game. What do we mean? 53 out of 65 decided by 3 runs or less, the most in baseball, the most one-run games, and a great winning percentage, the best winning percentage in one-run games in all of baseball. 9 walk-off wins, including one Friday night. How about this? They've got 18 wins at home this year. 14 of those 18 have been by 1 run.
And that's when you don't have that big bopper in the middle of the lineup where the team doesn't come and say, hey, I'm looking for this guy to win the game. Every player comes to the ballpark saying, maybe today's the day that I'm going to contribute. And a lot of them have.
And they won a World Series playing this way. It's not that dissimilar to what happened in 2010.
Well, you build calluses against pressure because you've experienced it so much. You get calluses and you decide, you know what, this is just normal for us, where another team is like under the gun and feeling like, oh my gosh, a tight game.
One ball, 2 strikes on Crawford. The big difference, of course, this year is Buster Posey's gone for the season. Now, they didn't get him till the end of May last year, but once they got him, they got him. And Freddie Sanchez is out indefinitely. Nobody knows exactly how long right now, a dislocated shoulder. But the Giants actually have a better record now than they had at this point last year.
And they had a few guys coming back off the disabled list. Couple on, couple coming back.
Yep. Pablo Sandoval should be back Tuesday. Backhanded by Renteria to second one, to first, not in time. Well, how much of the injuries affected the San Francisco Giants here this season? You take a look at what their opening day lineup is, which is always, of course, a good indication of the lineup the manager wants to use a lot during the season. Right now, 4 of them, Sanchez, Posey, Belt, and Sandoval, are on the DL. Burrell's hardly playing anymore. Huff and Tejada are playing different positions. So Torres is the only guy in the same who's healthy and in the same defensive position from the opening day lineup. So Bruce Bochy, you got to give him an A for effort and creativity and ingenuity and stick-to-itiveness and all those things. This is not a just, write those 8 names in and roll them out there and see what happens.
I give him an A for managing. And I think that's something he does as well as anybody in the world. Manages his people, manages the game.
Runner goes. Chopper toward first. Big bounce to Votto when the inning is over. The Giants, though, do tie it up 2-2 at the end of 6. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Firestone, the official tire of Major League Baseball. And the Florida Department of Citrus take on the day with the natural goodness of 100% pure Florida orange juice. Dan Schulman to Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, Buster Olney, Wendy Nix tied at 2 as we go to the 7th inning here in San Francisco. New pitcher for the Giants, right-hander Ramon Ramirez facing Ramon Hernandez. Ground ball to short. Crawford, 1 down. Ramirez, part of a very good and deep San Francisco pen. Terrific numbers on the season for Ramirez, who pitched an inning in last night's game and will now face a pinch hitter and another former Giant, Fred Lewis, who was drafted by the Giants, broke in with the Giants in 2006, played with them through 2009, began last year, nice touch here by the Giants, began last year on the disabled list. 2 weeks into the season, while still injured, was traded to the Toronto Blue Jays. So he did not appear in a regular season game for the Giants last year. They gave him a ring.
He was a nice touch.
Spring training and part of the team.
He was just trying to hit a home run to say thank you. That's first pitch fastball. He had a great rip on it. He's surprised if he gets another fastball out over the plate.
You know, we talked so much about last year and all the great moves Brian Sabean made and how they magically came true. Well, Ramon Ramirez on the mound right now, since he was acquired last year from Boston, has a 1.17. It's the second lowest of any reliever in the majors during that span, with a minimum of 50 innings pitched. So there's one more move that Brian made last year that made the magic.
Both these teams have terrific general managers. Walt Jocketty, Brian Sabean. Been in it to win it. Been in it a long time. Know exactly what they have and know exactly what they need, and usually go out and find how to fill those holes. Here's Walt.
Neither man afraid of making moves in season. Walt Jocketty, the former manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, made a number of great moves to fortify those Cardinal teams over the years.
He's just got to do a little better so we could get a suite with a flat screen in it. You know, not sure if that's even HD right there.
That's the visiting GM's box. Sabe's got probably 2 or 3 flat screens.
Full count pitch. So Jonathan Sanchez tonight goes 6 innings, gives up just 2 runs, despite 5 hits and 5 walks. Also struck out 5 and threw 103 pitches, 58 strikes, 45 balls.
He's looking at a no decision instead of a possible win. If he was able to get a bunt down, I think it'd be 3-2 right now.
Change up there, fouled off. And Edinson Volquez probably looking at a similar fate. If he'd had better base running, he might have been looking at a win instead of a no decision.
All he has to do is be halfway on that ball. If it goes over Cody Ross's head, he walks home. Instead, he was 3/4 of the way. Gets thrown out on an excellent throw by Cody Ross.
Again, the 3-2. Another change up, and again, it's fouled off by Lewis.
That's a foul ball, folks, because it went off his foot. As soon as the ball is hit and goes off batter's body, it's automatically dead while he's in the batter's box. If he's out of the batter's box, he's out. This is just a little pain as he walks off and gets back into the batter's box, and now he's ready to go 3-2 one more time.
This Thursday and Friday on ESPN, don't miss first and second round coverage of the U.S. Open Golf Championship. Thursday and Friday at 5 Eastern on ESPN. The coverage also available online at ESPN3.com and on your phone. Finally, Ramirez wins the battle.
And he wins it with an ace. Good job of Freddie fouling off some tough pitches, and then the toughest of all, Oral, is right here.
Wow. Pretty good. Trying to throw it right down the middle, and it tailed right to the corner.
There's Drew Stubbs to look at a strike. Stubbs has walked and singled twice. Ooh. And takes a painful route down to first base this time.
You know, there's always teaching moments in a game, and when you right-hander throws a ball that's bearing in on a right-handed hitter, you have to turn to get out of the way, and if you get hit in the big part of your body. As this ball comes in, Stubbs is diving a little and then turns toward the umpire to let this ball hit him in the back. If you turn the other way and expose your face and your chest to that ball, a lot of bad things can happen. The ball could hit the bat, deflect off the bat into your face. It could hit your face if it's a little higher. And it's a great practice for those little leaguers and high schoolers who are out there. Get a softball, have dad or your coach throw it at you, and practice turning toward the umpire when that ball's coming at you, and you'll be down there at first base smiling, getting ready to steal the base rather than being carried off the field.
On base for the 4th time tonight, left-hander Javier Lopez, who walked 4 batters yesterday in 2/3 of an inning in a Reds blowout win. Begins to warm up with Votto on deck and Bruce behind him. Drawing a throw is Stubbs, who's got 18 steals on the season. The batter is Brandon Phillips, 0 for 3.
Huff holds that base with the right foot parallel with the base, and they call it a balk. Ramon Ramirez was looking in for the sign. He just started up a little and stopped his motion. You do that, it's called a balk, because once you start your motion, you have to continue your motion to stop in a set position. He stopped, balk, and Bruce says, well, we could have let him try to steal the base. 2 outs, hit batter, balk. It's really fun to manage in the major leagues, isn't it?
Haven't had the opportunity, Bobby, but I know you have many a night.
Well, you managed every game you played with me,
wow,
except for the ones you were, except for the ones you were pitching, and even them you tried to manage. You could have left too.
I was managing right along with you, I'll tell you that.
And it was fun doing that with you.
Oh, God.
Go ahead, run out at second. 2 down. Top of the 7th here in San Francisco. Oh, and 2.
Right there. He just lifts up a little bit. He was looking in. He changed his upper body posture. It was a little ticky-tack, but it was a start.
Wow.
It is what he does every time, though.
Yeah.
He did it there again. He was down low. He came up to this position to get the sign. That's what he did with the man on first, and they called the balk.
He gets out of it by getting Phillips. pictures delivered by all the outstanding people that we get a chance to work with on a weekly basis. Our producer, Tom Archer, director, Derek Mobley, and the rest of the gang gathered here at AT&T Park, bringing you Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN as we go to a 2-2 tie here in the bottom of the 7th. A look at our game track brought to you by USAA. Cincinnati taking advantage of some wildness by Jonathan Sanchez to score their 2 runs in the top of the 4th inning. The Giants battle back with single runs in the 4th and 6th. They have had their chances, though, to do more damage, but have been unable to take the lead. Let's see what happens here in the bottom of the 7th. The catcher, Chris Stewart, leads it off against the new pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds, the former Angel, the right-hander, Jose Arredondo, making his 15th appearance of the season. A live arm. As you can see, some command issues. 9 walks in 12 1/3.
Live arm means velocity, movement, and sometimes erratic.
Walks the leadoff batter. Can't look. Need a new toothpick. What else I got? Scratch him out.
Cincinnati's 2 runs scored by a walk and a hit batter, and one of the Giant runs was scored by a walk.
Pinch hitter Pat Burrell batting for the pitcher Ramirez. Burrell hit a home run in the 9th inning of yesterday's game. Giants were down 10-0 at the time. Hit a 2-run shot. It was his first home run in 96 at bats. His 6th home run of the season. Left-hander Bill Bray up in the Cincinnati pen. We are really now, it's the manager's game right now, Bobby. This is right. This is when you're pulling all the strings.
You're pulling all the strings that you have, but because of the injuries in this Giant team, many of his bench players, Bruce Bochy's bench players, are in the starting lineup. So Schuerholz is starting tonight, and possibly Crawford is starting tonight. So he brings up his right-handed pinch hitter in this situation, which is a double play situation with a right-hander. He doesn't have a bunter come off the bench to move the guy along. So he goes with Pat in this situation, maybe for the matchup against the fastball, get one down out over the plate and hit one over that fence.
Strike 3 called. A high changeup, Oral, that freezes him for strike 3.
Usually when you're the live arm erratic pitcher, you don't get the borderline call, especially with a high off-speed pitch. But Pat Burrell didn't get the benefit of the doubt right there. Take a look. That ball came right down, got there. It's almost like a slider.
Should have been a souvenir.
Or a fork ball. Yeah, it should have been a souvenir.
Yeah, that ball should have gone a long way.
So it wasn't what Burrell was expecting, and it wasn't where Ramon Hernandez was expecting it, right?
No, I think Pat thought it was a fastball that was going to sail up out of the zone, and it fell down in with on a split.
Here's Andres Torres. Both teams with 2 runs on 5 hits. There has not been an error in the game. The Reds have left 6. The Giants have left 5. The Reds embarking into a difficult part of their schedule. Interleague play coming up. They'll play 4 of the 5 teams in the American League East. The good news for them is they miss the Red Sox, who are destroying people right now. They beat the Blue Jays 14-1 today after beating them 16-4 yesterday. Boston's won 9 in a row. And then the Reds, before the All-Star break, have a road trip to Milwaukee and St. Louis. The 2 teams they are chasing right now in the National League Central. So this is a pivotal 3-week stretch coming up for Cincinnati. They'll go to L.A., then the interleague play against 4 of the 5 teams in the American League East. Cleveland swept them a couple of weeks ago, but the Indians are not playing nearly as well right now. And then a huge 7-game trip. 3 in St. Louis, 4 in Milwaukee. Bouncer over the head of Votto into right field. Stewart on his way to third. Torres on his way to second.
Walk, strikeout, base hit. The walks will kill you. 390 feet, and now you end up with second and third because of a chopper, because you walked the leadoff hitter.
The leadoff hitter who's in the game because of his defense. Had a double earlier in the game, only his second hit of the Major League season, and you walk him leading off the inning. Infield's got to be in this situation. They're looking into the dugout. They don't know which way to go. Timeout. Let's get our act together.
Miguel Tejada, the batter, right-handed batter. Left-hand hitting Nate Scherholtz is after him. Left-hander Bill Bray is up and ready if needed in the Cincinnati pen. Tejada 1 for 3 tonight, but like so many Giants, has really struggled with runners in scoring position. They don't get many opportunities, and they're not taking advantage of the few opportunities they do get.
Here they have first base open with Tejada hitting. The infield's going to be in. Everyone's wondering, are they going to walk him? Are they going to pitch around him? There's 2 left-handers coming up and a left-hander ready in the bullpen. Joey Votto still isn't playing in.
And now they have decided to put Tejada on.
That's what I figured that conversation was all about. But there was a little indecision somewhere. And Pat Burrell, being used as a pinch hitter, as the second guy in this inning, is not available to pinch hit now as the left-handers come in from the bullpen. So we'll be looking at Adam Rowland if Bruce goes to the bench.
Very rarely do you see a second hitter walk to get to a third hitter in the 7th inning of a game. That shows you the lack of depth and the repositioning of Bruce Bochy and his lineup and his personnel.
Dusty Baker on his way to the mound, and he's made the call to the pen for the lefty. The Giants have them loaded. They'll have a chance to take the lead when we come back. Francisco, a 2-2 tie between the Reds and Giants here in the bottom of the 7th. The crowd responding here. It's not to what's going on the baseball field, although they're excited the Giants could take the lead. They have just shown on the Giant video board here at the ballpark that the Dallas Mavericks have defeated the Miami Heat and have won the NBA championship. Congratulations to Rick Carlisle, Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Terry, And the rest of the Mavericks and everybody, of course, outside Miami loves to hate the Heat. So they're happy here that the Mavericks have won. And they're happy here that the Giants can take the lead. But a tough hombre is coming to left-hander Bill Bray. Look at the numbers that he's put up this year, especially against lefties. And here is left-hand hitting Nate Schierholtz, who has not done much in limited opportunities. 3 for 20 against left-handed pitchers this year. 2-2 tie. Bases loaded, 1 out. Game on here at AT&T Park. To center field. Stubbs will make the catch. Stewart will tag and come in to score. The Giants lead.
Schierholtz in that third spot tonight with Rowland not able to pinch hit. Bruce let him hit in that situation, gets the big RBI, and that's going to build an awful lot of confidence in that young man.
Aubrey Huff, the batter. Airman Rowland hit on the wrist by a pitch and has some soreness there. But Schierholtz, again, as we mentioned earlier, has gone from bench player, pinch hitter, defensive replacement to a key part of this Giants team offensively and defensively. As Huff looks at a strike. Huff tonight, a couple of hits, including an RBI double back in the fourth. The Giants trailed 2-0 in the fourth. Got one that inning, one in the sixth, one here in the seventh. They now have the lead for the first time tonight. And for Nate Schierholtz, he's been on base twice. He has scored twice, and he just drove in the go-ahead run.
The Giants have creeped close to their home average in runs, 3.5. Remember, Cincinnati averages 5. So they're not dead yet.
Have they actually scored half runs in some of those games?
I think no. It's one time they get 3, one time they get 4.
I got it.
A check swing bouncer foul. I bet you there are times Bruce Bochy would like to get some partial credit just for, really trying.
Well, he gets full credit for trying every night. Yeah. He's been aggressive from the get-go. He's made things happen. He's made the decisions that had to be made. He even got a little overly aggressive, letting his pitcher swing with one strike, which almost dug a hole that he didn't climb out of. But right now they're playing giant ball. Got a 1-run game.
The 2-2. Big swing and a foul back by Huff. Nick Massett is up in the pen, right-hander for the Reds, and they come in to face Cody Ross. Should Huff be able to keep this inning alive? So both starters go 6 innings. Both give up 2 runs. Both will wind up with a no decision. The Giants have taken the lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Foul ball, says first base umpire Bill Welke. Once it reaches the bag, it becomes the call of the base ump, not the home plate ump. So we had to wait a while for the call as Joey Votto went to play that ball.
Which is always an interesting call for my money, because the first baseman is always between that umpire down the line and the ball, and yet he has to see the ball, whether it's fair or foul, when it comes over the bag. Tim usually makes the right call, and I'm going to go with him on that in that instant.
Little looper left field, a base hit. Here comes Torres in ahead of the throw. 4-2 Giants. Big nights for the 3 and 4 hitters, Shearholtz and Huff. Each of them driving in a run here in the 7th inning and forcing Dusty Baker to his bullpen again. Massett will come in to face Ross. Clutch at bats by Nate Shearholtz, and then Aubrey Huff lunging and reaching and rewarded with an RBI single. The Giants lead by 2. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men. With Bobby Valentine and Oral Hershiser, I'm Dan Schulman. Welcome back to San Francisco. What a great city. The place will be 2 weeks from now and again 4 weeks from now here on Sunday Night Baseball. Next week, Yankees at Cubs, by the way. The Giants have pushed across 2 runs here in the bottom of the 7th to take the lead. Cody Ross facing the new pitcher, Nick Massett. Massett making his 34th appearance of the season. 115 appearances between this year and last, tied with Atlanta's Johnny Venters for the most in baseball in that time. They're chanting Cody Ross's name. He went from a virtual unknown here in San Francisco, in spite of a couple of pretty good years, drove in 90 runs one year for the Marlins. But he went from a virtual unknown to the most popular man in the city in the middle of October, when he just tore up the Phillies in the early part of the NLCS.
That was a wise move by Brian Sabian to pick him up, but what he was doing is blocking him from going to San Diego, who was desperately in need of some offense, and he turned into a hero.
Having been here during the NLCS, working it for ESPN Radio, you went into the big giant store one day and looked for a Cody Ross jersey. They weren't there. They didn't exist. He was new. They didn't know he'd hit so well. He wasn't popular. You went in the next day. There were tons of Cody Ross jerseys. You went in the next day. They were all sold out.
Remember that? It's amazing.
That guy's got one. Cody Ross will never pay for a meal in this town again.
It's an amazing inning, you know, men in second and third. Dusty makes the percentage move where he puts Tejada on, who's swinging the bat well last night, starting to come into his own, has been a big RBI man all his life. Brought his left-hander in, who has a 175 average against left-handers. One of them gets a hit, one RBI sac fly.
To center, Stubbs the catch, and the inning is over. The inning began in a 2-2 tie, but then the Giants made it happen. Nate Shearholtz, the sac fly. Aubrey Huff, the RBI single. The Giants lead 4-2. Will go to the 8th. And look who's coming up for Cincinnati. This one is not over yet. 3, 4 and 5 coming up for the Reds. We go to the top of the 8th on a beautiful evening here in San Francisco. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN with the Giants now leading the Reds 4-2. And Bruce Bochy goes to his pen for his lefty specialist, Javier Lopez, with Joey Votto and Jay Bruce, the first 2 hitters coming up for Cincinnati. Lopez so tough on lefties.
You don't want to hear this, Dan, but he had a season-high 4 walks yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. Really struggled yesterday, threw a lot of pitches, walked 4 2/3 of an inning, but this is what he does, back in there to try and get it done, and he has had success against Joey Votto. So Votto, we've kind of focused on him, Bobby, in some of his at-bats tonight, with the shadows and a bit of the wildness of Jonathan Sanchez and how uncomfortable Votto looked in some of his earlier at-bats. Lopez is not much more comfortable coming from the side like he does.
Boy, he steps across his body and then drops down a little with his tilt of his body and throws that ball from behind the left-hander. It's called the old crossfire action. Very difficult on left-handers. Here it comes. It'll start off behind him and then go to the outside corner.
Fights it off to stay alive at 1-2.
You just don't face a lot of batting practice pitchers that throw like that. Just don't throw balls that are start behind me and make them end up over the plate.
Sergio Romo is up in the Giants' pen. Lopez, you would imagine, on just to face the 2 lefties, Votto and Bruce. Then turn it over to Romo, and all things going well for the Giants. Brian Wilson in the 9th. 1 down.
That was a very, very difficult at-bat. And you're talking about establishing a way, throwing a pitch in. Here he comes, starts out, establishes that he could throw it out there, and then bust it inside to say, I could get you there, and then go back away again. And a check swing gets him. This check swing thing should be discussed someday. Is it that the head of the bat goes in front of the hands, or in front of the plate, or break the wrist? What exactly is it, Earl? Strike 1. I don't get it either.
You've got a long list of things that you'd like to see tweaked a little bit, huh?
Well, that one really needs to be defined for me.
Bruce has also struggled against Lopez. How about this? In the playoffs last year, batters went 1 for 17 against Javier Lopez. Lefties went 1 for 13. Those hitters included Jason Hayward, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Josh Hamilton. I mean, those are the guys that he was coming on to face. And now you can see why. Back-to-back strikeouts of Votto and Bruce. Bruce Bochy on his way out to the mound. Javier Lopez has a very specific job description, and he executed it to perfection here tonight. And he'll get an ovation in accordance with the job he just did.
Yep.
2 down, nobody on in the 8th inning. The Reds batting. This is Scott Rowland. And a slider in for a strike from Sergio Romo. Not only the talent and depth, Bobby, but the diversity of the looks that Giants bullpen can give you. We saw Lopez come in holding lefties to a 111 batting average. Now Romo comes in holding righties to a 115 average on the season.
You only get to see them once or twice a series. Their balls move incredibly well in and out. They start their pitches at the middle of the plate. They move toward the corner and off on both sides of the plate. This will probably be that slider away that Roland waves at.
Fastball, and it's lined foul down the right field line.
Well, you talk about effectiveness of left-on-left situations. You can do it with fastballs. You can do it with breaking balls. Lopez did it with both. Here to Votto, the breaking ball away, and then he makes a better one lower and down, and now to Bruce, the fastball in, and let's go back to the breaking ball and get you out.
And before the game, Dusty was concerned about his ability to get his left-handers out and was hoping that he threw too many pitches last night and wouldn't be available tonight.
Didn't need many tonight. Took care of Votto and Bruce in a hurry. Huff with room. What a job by the Giants pen. Back here in San Francisco, 4-2 Giants, bottom 8. What is the greatest moment in the rich history of the MLB All-Star Game? Join the Midsummer Classics debate. Go to MLB.com/moments to fill out your bracket. What unbelievable shots we are getting here on this great night in San Francisco as Brian Wilson, the Giants closer, begins to warm up in anticipation of a save opportunity in the top of the 9th. Brandon Crawford leads off the bottom of the 8th. Nick Massett is on the mound still for the Reds. The Giants have battled back from a 2-0 deficit with 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th, and then 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th. 1-2 to count on Crawford. And then you can't say enough about the job done by Ramon Ramirez, Javier Lopez, and Sergio Romo. The Giants' pen has outpitched the Reds' pen tonight. Arredondo and Bray could not do the job that the Giants relievers did.
And Dan, when you mentioned the All-Star game, it's going to be Bruce Bochy who's selecting the All-Star team. And he won't be able to select any of his position players, but don't be surprised if he selects more than Brian Wilson out of his bullpen to represent the Giants in the fall, in that Midsummer Classic.
Inside, a full count. Well, Lincecum, especially after yesterday, he's down to a .500 record, a 3.41 ERA. Cain's 5-4, 3.36. Maybe one of those guys will find his way onto the All-Star team if they have a good few weeks. Right and rolling. 1 down.
How quickly they figure out where to play you. Just got up here, rolling his 25 feet off the third base bag, right in the hole where he would get a hit in AA and AAA, but not in the big leagues.
That's a fact.
They're already in your spot. Get better.
Manny Burris, the batter, 0 for 3. You know, the more you look at the Giants, you just wonder, how are they getting this done? They are in first place with all the injuries and all the problems they've had offensively.
Well, I think it's like the Mavericks getting it done. It's not always the best team that wins, but the team that plays the best. The Giants just keep outplaying their opposition.
Doing just enough to win.
They have the best record within their own division. They're 18-10 against the West. The next closest in the West, it's not really even close. Everybody else has San Diego's 10-9. Everybody else has a losing record.
You know, the Giants have been outscored on the season. They have allowed more runs than they have scored. But if they win tonight, they'll go to 8 games over because they have mastered the art, as we have said repeatedly tonight, of doing just enough, finding ways to win close games. And they have played more close games than any other team in baseball. If the Giants win this one, it'll be a split of the 4-game series. Cincinnati's headed down to Los Angeles. San Francisco's got an off day tomorrow, first one in 3 weeks. They'll start a series at Arizona Tuesday. Not so fast. 3-2 the count on Manny Burris. It's the 6th walk given up tonight by a Reds pitcher. For those of you looking for Sports Center here on ESPN, it'll come your way as soon as the ball game is completed. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning at AT&T Park. The Giants leading the Reds 4-2. SportsCenter is currently airing over on ESPN2, and we'll switch to ESPN after this game is off the air. Here's Chris Stewart.
Wouldn't be surprised to see it hit and run sometime during this at bat. See if we could get that run in a scoring position and maybe squeak one more across with the bottom of the lineup coming up.
Pitch out. Reds are thinking the same way you're thinking, Bobby, but nothing going on.
It's not if they're going to do it, it's when they're going to do it. Sometimes a pitch out talks manager into putting play on. Bruce just said, do you think they'll do 2 in a row?
Two balls, no strikes on Stewart.
Once again, the unfamiliarity with Stewart at the plate to put the hit and run out it's a real challenge. Might have seen him do it in spring training a couple times. Might have gotten a report of how you could do it in the minor leagues.
Here's your count right here. 2-0. Give him the green light. Let him take a free hack. But now 2-1. You see that he can make contact.
You get that runner to second base, you get the pitcher's spot to hit this inning. You don't have to worry about a double switch when you bring in your closer, just in case he gives up 2. Oops. Had him leaning.
Burris diving back in. 1 on, 1 out, 4-2 Giants in the bottom of the 8th inning. There he goes. Pitch swung on, grounded back to the mound off the body of Massett. He'll recover to make the play to first. Kept him out of a double play. Well, potentially. I mean, with the ball hitting him.
That's what he wants. He just wants an opportunity to get another base hit. As a pinch hitter hitting for the pitcher now, he turned over his lineup. He doesn't have to worry about the double switch. Has the 2-run lead. Things are good.
Connor Gillespie will come up as a pinch hitter in the pitcher spot. Infielder who was called up when Brandon Belt went on the DL last week. Belt's out with a fractured bone in his wrist. Will miss at least a month.
Gets the feeling like a spring training game. Some of the names the Giants bring up there, you go, what is going on?
Well, they signed Bill Hall off of the video game room.
And just playing video games with his cousin when he got the phone call that the Giants wanted to sign him.
He's at home in Arizona Friday night playing video games. They call him, and Saturday afternoon he plays in the game for the Giants.
That's not part of the plan.
There's Bill Hall after the injury to Freddie Sanchez. Hall can be one of the guys who can fill in at second base, can play other positions as well.
Probably get a start in their next series. They're going to face a few left-handed starters.
And you know what? If he's going to fit in true Giants fashion, he'll have a game-winning hit at some point in the next few days. He'll be the man. He'll be the hero. It's a different guy every night with this team.
If they win it all, he'll probably be the MVP of the World Series.
Got a bat in hand just in case.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
It's a team game.
9 walk-off wins for the Giants. 8 different players have delivered those hits. Freddie Sanchez has done it twice. 7 other Giants, including Nate Schierholtz, who you're looking at. He did it Friday night. 7 other Giants have driven in a game-winning hit. Miguel Tejada's done it. Aubrey Huff has done it.
A few of the guys that are on the DL have done it.
The whole is greater than the sum of the parts, right, Bobby?
I've heard it before, and I believe it.
When the guy standing out there on the mound is really good, he makes the hole greater than the parts a lot of times.
Yes. And they have some good ones that start the games, come in the middle of the games, and finish the games.
And their starters don't have great records, but they're right around 500, most of them, and the bullpen has a lot of the wins.
3-2.
Most championship teams get 25 to 35 wins from their bullpen. Everyone talks about the number one and the number two and how important they are going into the season. And then you see 35 wins thrown up by the bullpen, and that's what makes the difference.
Ball 4. Missed badly. Dusty Baker's not getting what he needs out of his bullpen tonight. An inning and 2/3. Couple of runs allowed, 3 hits, 3 walks. Brian Price jogging to the pen, or jogging out to the mound rather, to talk to Massett. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Watch over 100 live out-of-market games per week online and on your favorite device. Visit MLB.TV for details. Well, the Dallas Mavericks have won the NBA championship, knocking off the Miami Heat in 6 games. And SportsCenter will have everything you know, wall-to-wall coverage, including footage. Dirk Nowitzki has won an NBA title. Congratulations to him. He had 21 tonight. Jason Terry with 27. Congratulations to the Mavericks. Full coverage on SportsCenter on ESPN immediately following the conclusion of the game.
It's really nice to see Dirk do that. Awesome.
Probably
Great
got
player.
the MVP too.
Probably.
You can't backtrack, Oro. You said it. It's out there. It's done.
He challenged him.
Here's Andres Torres. Right, Bobby? He said it.
Oh, I wasn't listening at the time. You guys talk basketball. I just turned you off. I was watching the baseball game.
That away, partner.
4-2 Giants, bottom 8, 2 on, 2 out. Brian Wilson has been standing, virtually motionless, in the Giants bullpen down the left field line for about 10 minutes, waiting for this inning to end.
The beer keeps him warm.
1-2. And a grounder to second. Inning over. Giants leave 2 men on. They lead by 2. They're going to the 9th. And you know what that means here in San Francisco. Brian Wilson on his way into the game. Here at AT&T Park, the Giants are up 4-2. And yeah, there is no Giant more popular, perhaps, than Brian Wilson. The beard and the success that Wilson had both became huge stories last year on the Giants' way to the World Series. Wilson with 48 saves a year ago to lead the majors. He's got 17 this year. And he starts Johnny Gomes with a strike. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up for the Reds. Gomes, Renteria, and Ramon Hernandez. This year, Wilson's got 5 wins to go with those 17 saves. Striking out better than a batter per inning. Jonathan Sanchez, 6 somewhat rocky innings despite only giving up 2 runs. And then Ramon Ramirez, Javier Lopez, Sergio Romo did their jobs in the 7th and 8th. Now Wilson on in the 9th.
A little more comfortable pitching with that 2-run lead. He has tremendous confidence, tremendous poise out there no matter what he faces.
Out number 1.
Well, when you could come in and throw pitches on the black out of the bullpen when the other team must score, you're usually going to be successful.
Well, a cut fastball and the action got him. Thought it was going to be inside and ended up down the middle, but that cut action at the end is what really fooled him.
Here's Edgar Renteria. A win for the Giants tonight. They would move a game ahead of Arizona. Arizona won earlier today, so the Giants would maintain their 1-game lead over the Diamondbacks. They begin a series at Arizona Tuesday night. And if the Reds lose it, they'll be 4.5 back of the new leaders in the National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers, who beat the Cardinals earlier today to move into first.
We mentioned that tough schedule the Reds have, and also mentioned the 2 barriers they've had this year. One at 500, they've never been below. The other at 3 over 500, never been above. This stretch will break through one of those barriers and probably determine how the Reds will finish this season. And folks, you see that K-zone box there. That's at 59 feet from the front of the pitcher's mound, right at the front of the home plate. It's 60 feet 6 inches to the back corner of the plate.
Up the middle, ranging to his right, Burris. Good throw to get him 2 down. A lively crowd of better than 42,000 here tonight. Another sellout. They have sold out every home game this season here at AT&T Park. And they're an out away from victory. Ramon Hernandez is the batter.
Or what about that rule, if you don't catch it, it can't be a strike?
They haven't written one that.
Oh, okay.
They haven't written that one yet. That was a cutter that backed up.
Two and one. Chris Heisey is on deck, representing the potential tying run if Hernandez can reach and extend the game, which he will do with a base hit into right field. And that brings up a guy in Heisey who has been a devastating pinch hitter so far this year. 8 for 19, including a home run. Outside, ball 1. Huff at first is playing just behind the runner Hernandez, not actively holding him on.
Well, they're not really playing no doubles. They're pretty much playing straight defense.
With a 2-run lead, I think I do that too, playing at home. On the road, I'd play a no double situation. Playing at home, I'd make them earn it
Play for
twice.
the out.
Yes.
Missed down and away with a fastball. 2 balls and a strike on Heisey.
There's a lot of pitches away, huh?
Yeah.
Very few.
I'm really
inside.
surprised they're allowing him to go to his mouth too. He's licking his fingers almost in every pitch. There is temperatures where they say you can go to your mouth and blow on your hand, but I've never seen a rule where you're allowed to lick your hand on the mound. He will go there right about now.
Yep.
He just did it. He's done it every pitch.
You're supposed to be off the rubber.
Off the dirt. You
can
blow on your hand, but you can't.
They changed the rule.
They change it?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm behind the times. I apologize.
Be off the rubber. Yep.
Well, I could have pitched longer.
Strike 2.
Timeout. Pinch running for run number 3 out there.
Mike Leake, pitcher, has just come in to run for Hernandez. And he'll be on the move with a full count and 2 down. Maybe Leake was looking for his cleats when they told him he was going to be a pinch runner.
Well, the run that matters is the guy at the plate, and then the next run. That runner, he just has to go station to station.
It would have been more important prior to 3 and 2 because then you have to force out at second. There's no force out at second here now. Prior to 3 and 2, the speed could have mattered.
Heisey continues to battle. Another dangerous hitter is on deck. Drew Stubbs, if Heisey can reach. Stubbs, a guy with some power. The Reds led 2-0 in the 4th. The Giants have come back to take the lead and are now a strike away from victory. To third, Tejada. Giants win. Save number 18 for Brian Wilson. Ramon Ramirez gets the win. Jose Arredondo under the Reds pen suffers the loss as the Giants and Reds wind up splitting a 4-game series. Tonight, Chevrolet players of the game, Nate Schierholtz and Aubrey Huff, who combined to really do the job offensively for the Giants. Huff driving in a run in the 4th. Both of them driving in runs in the pivotal 7th inning when the Giants took the lead that they would never relinquish as they win this ball game 4-2 over the Reds tonight here at AT&T Park. Coming up next on ESPN, stay tuned for SportsCenter, including wall-to-wall coverage of the Dallas Mavericks winning the NBA championship. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Oral Hershiser, Bobby Valentine, Wendy Nix, and Buster Olney, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching and good night from San Francisco.